We just saw the Switch 2 Direct, and there's a lot of things to talk about, including things that happened outside of the Direct. And I have 4 guests today that we're going to do just that in Codename Goodgame. And to do that with me today is 3 amazing guests. One of them I haven't had in a long time, but first off, we have Rob and Kel from the Gaming Duo podcast. Kel, hello, how's it going?
What's going on, guys? Happy to be here.
And Rob, how about you?
Thank you for having me, Tony. Appreciate it, as always.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, in a long-ass time, sorry for cursing there, but I'm just really excited because I haven't had this guy in a while. It's Baldly Rudy from the channel, Baldly Rudy. Hey, Rudy.
Hey, what's up, man? Thank you so much for having me. Also, thank you for pronouncing that the right way. Everyone just kills that second L entirely, and it's silent for everyone else, so bravo, my friend. Bravo.
You've brought this up before, and I'm like, that's just what it sounds like to me. It's just
right.
Yeah. Baldy.
That's what I consider it, man.
Baldy. People could say baldy. That what?
Baldy.
No. There's an L after the D. It's baldly. It's like boldly.
Yeah.
That's
Baldly, not baldy.
That's the play on words right there, Tony. You know.
Yeah, it's yeah. No, I figured it, Rudy. I'm with you. I understood the homework. like you are boldly Rudy, kind of a thing, but bald. Yeah. So genius.
Oh my god.
Genius name. Rob's like realizing it right now. And also, our 5th person today, that would be you watching, whether it's after the stream or during the stream. You are our 5th player in this conversation that is our weekly book club of Codename Goodgame, where we talk about things maybe happening this week, or maybe just things we want to bring to the table to talk about. Like, live is C2, Supertone, Steffi, main email. What a name. I hate that price, man. That's their first word. And we're going to talk about the price, because that's something that the Switch 2 Direct didn't talk about for understandable reasons. And because there's other things about that. But, I mean, there's a lot to talk about, and I was laying it out for the guys here that we're going to be kind of like, we're going to go chronologically on things going on. I shared my overall thoughts. We might hear some things about this. Rudy, actually, quick plug into you, because you haven't been here in a while. Do you feel like you'll have a coming tech breakdown or something for this, or anything like that?
So, okay, here's the funny thing. So I'm sitting here on like Twitter or X or whatever it's called, and I see all these other like content creators like spewing out just like videos and stuff and like uploading stuff. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I should probably be doing stuff. I should probably be creating content. You know that itch that you get? And my son's like, Dad, let's watch Doctor Who. And I'm like, okay, all right. So I just did that. That's what I was doing. We were watching Doctor Who. But
so I just did that.
I think tomorrow, midday-ish while he's in school, I'll probably be working on a video specifically talking about the things that happened today.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And there's a lot of things that happened today. And something that I kind of want to gauge from you watching as well as the panel here is, before we kind of, again, there's so much to talk about. I am hoping this is an under 90-minute show, but as Kel said, 4 people, Nintendo Direct 2, like Switch 2, like we'll find out. Maybe that's the challenge. Does it happen? Let's find out. If you're live, let's see if that happens together. And I was even like, is there time for trivia? Who knows? But there's a lot to talk about. So, first off, just you watching, I have a poll going on that is, what grade would you give the Switch 2 Direct? So far, it is an overwhelming B. And I am curious, just, we'll talk this through together and see maybe what our final conclusions are. But just first impressions wise, I'm curious where the panel sits as well as people watching. Rob, how about you? Like, coming out of the Direct, doing your best in that moment, you finished the Direct. What was the feelings?
Keyword there is in the moment, not afterwards. That's what I'm going to go with. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to say it gave us what we wanted for the most part, and expectations were kind of where they were at. There were things that me personally I was missing, but I was hyped. I was hyped to get a Nintendo Switch too, right? So yeah, that's kind of where I left off on that. So
how about you, Kel?
You're talking about in the moment, right? Like as we were watching.
I love that we're all bringing it up.
Because it's just funny.
In the moment, the Direct wraps up. In the moment, you wrap the Direct.
Yeah.
What's your like first thought or whatever?
In the moment, my first reaction was like, wow, they fucking nailed this. Sorry, I cursed, but they nailed this thing, man. Like, they really did a great job of like putting down everything, majority of the stuff that we wanted to know. We had the third party support. We had like some of the quality games that we wanted to see, right? Like Donkey Kong, Mario Kart, like all those great things. And they showed us like the hardware stuff. Like they went kind of deep into it, which I was like, oh crap, like Nintendo's really doing this. So overall, man, I thought they did a great job. Afterwards, things started to settle in, but we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah. How about you, Rudy? You just got out of the direct. How do you feel?
I felt goodish. Like if I were to go off like the poll that you did there in the moment, I would say a B. And like a B plus almost, if I were to like say that. There were a lot of things that we kind of speculated a little bit. We kind of knew based off of like leaks and rumors and things like that. Some of it I did not think was going to happen simply because it's Nintendo. You know, like there were rumors of like 4K and you know, it having an additional like something in the dock to help like boost up that power. But I kind of just was like, you know what? No, it's probably going to be 720. It's probably going to be maybe 1440 with checkerboard upscaling like it did with the PS4 Pro. So I kind of just, you know, swallowed my pride, swallowed everything. I was like, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. For me, I like coming out of that direct, I definitely had the big question. This is literally like the definite first thought I had was, that was exactly what it needed to be. This direct was not what I hoped, but it was exactly what it needed to be. It showed the game. It had a good handful of first-party stuff, had a good handful of third-party stuff, and it had the shockingly good amount of like explaining this is what the Switch 2 is. But also like, and honestly, like honest to God, this was the first question I had was like, how come they didn't talk about the price? Like that was literally my only question that I had coming out of that direct. But like without that question, I'm like, yeah, that was exactly what that direct needed to be to really make us feel like this is Nintendo's next console. So yeah, that's where I sat with it. And it's funny because like we pretty much all are like alluding to, that's how I felt then. And then it's like things shifted afterwards, which is like, maybe that's why they didn't want to talk about certain stuff during the direct. So I don't know. And there's some in the chat, those watching, I see Dog Tag saying, I'm one of the few that gave it a D. F wasn't an option. Holy cow. That is some ballsy talk. And Patrick's like, I voted a B, but I'm generous enough to give it an A minus. And Supertone says, I thought it was good. So, and that's what I mean. There's like just a very aftermath feeling and a during thing. But before we get to the aftermath, let's kind of just go sequentially the things that were in this Nintendo Direct. And they kicked it off right away with like the only, and I like this too. I'm curious where you guys sit on it. They kicked off with like the only thing that we actually knew about, which was Mario Kart 9. But oh wait, it's not Mario Kart 9. It's not even Mario Kart X or Cross like some of us thought it would be. It's Mario Kart World. And
Fitting.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. Yeah, like with everything we saw, it's like a Mario Kart that's clearly like this is the Forza Horizon of Mario Kart. You know, you get to go open world. Here's all this continuous marathon of a track and just all these options. This is the Horizon of Mario Kart. Does that like warrant the world title, Rudy? What do you like that name?
I mean, yeah, I think that it does warrant the name. I think that they probably saw the success that was possible with Forza Horizon and kind of went with that. Every other genre has done open world. I mean, even Zelda has done open world. So it makes sense that they would eventually integrate something like that into Mario Kart. The way that it's integrated with multiplayer is pretty interesting, at least, you know, from what I'm thinking, especially, you know, having a family and being able to all play together. Do you guys remember when Super Mario 3D World with my God, what was the expansion that came with it? Was it Bowser's
Fury?
Bowser's Fury.
Bowser's Fury, yeah.
Bowser's Fury, thank you. I loved the expansion, because it was this open world where you had different individual levels that were set up, and you could kind of just like start a world or a stage at any given moment. My hope is that this world tour has a similar state where like you can start a race at a specific moment and then just boom, just go right into it. Whether or not you're going to have online play and things like that is a different story, but I want to learn more, because Mario Kart's just fun, guys. Like, I don't care. I have fun with it. I mean, what do you guys think?
I think
That is, yeah, go Kel.
Sorry. So the way that they kind of like started off the direct, I thought it was fantastic. Like you said, Tony, knowing what we already know and just giving us more of it, showing Mario Kart World, giving us that like that free roam aspect to it. That's really cool. That kind of like really spiked up my level. I'm like, oh man, this is really cool. I can see myself playing with my son and just kind of like driving around, finding stuff. Like maybe you can find some type of like, I don't know, discoveries of some sort and get like outfits of, you know, anything that you can probably like find throughout the world. Like that's cool to me, right? And then showing off all those cool things like the cart grinding, I'm calling it that. I don't know, the jumping,
the cart,
all
grinding.
that stuff. That stuff was like, okay, you guys have sold me already. So yeah, overall, like I'm not the like I was a huge Mario Kart fan. It's kind of died down during the years, but like this brought my hype up like extremely high now.
Rob, is that where do you come at Mario Kart? Because I come at Mario Kart as somebody that, like, admittedly, blasphemy, I haven't really been that into it. And I don't know, like, it just hasn't grabbed me. I've tried it a couple times, but I'm just like, cool, I'd rather play Smash. But I don't know, like, you know, like,
that's fair.
Rob, where are you at with Mario Kart, and what'd you think of it?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same spot as you, Tony, where like if Mario Kart is there and being played, I'm definitely going to play, right? 100% going to play and have a good time, right? Like it's always there and you know you're going to have a good time if you play it. I don't go particularly out of my way to play Mario Kart. I'm not just like a diehard like that, but I did like with this Mario Kart, they're really trying to focus on online multiplayer, right? That's what it seemed like. Like this is the online entry for Switch. Like this is their entry point. Like we're finally here. We're coming to the actual like current generation of online play, which was refreshing to see. This was pretty hype for me. Like I was excited, but I kind of already knew about. I was like, okay, I know about Mario Kart. What's next? What else you got for me? So that's kind of how I felt.
And that's why I think it was cool that they kicked off with it. You know, it's like, you guys know about this. Let's just get it out of the way. You know?
Yeah. Well, Rob, it's funny that you mentioned like, you know, this one is more kind of like online and kind of like multiplayer based. I feel like they've always been kind of the multiplayer kind of like diehard fan kind of side of things, right? This one to me felt more like singular. It felt more like you're kind of like more co-op, kind of like, again, the free roam part. To me, I pictured it like, again, playing with my son or playing with somebody like a family member and just kind of like hanging out and driving around. So I thought this was more kind of removing the, I don't know, almost like the part where people are like really trying to like play this game just for the multiplayer side of things. That's how I took it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at 24 players, by the way, that was confirmed.
Awesome. Yeah,
24 players. I think, and we'll get a lot more at we're gonna get an entire devoted Mario Kart Direct on the 17th. I think it was.
Sounds right.
You guys remember
17, 18. Yeah, I think it was around those days. Yeah.
Again, at like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Bastards. But, well, not for you guys. You're all freaking East Coast, you lucky.
Yeah.
But,
we're chilling.
Yeah. You're chilling. But, yeah, Patrick just dropped a message saying, Mario Kart is my top 5 racing games, but coming in at number 5. But the free roam aspect is giving me mad outrun coast-to-coast vibes. So I know I'm going to like it. And like Supertoe was asking that too, like, is open world going to be crucial for this? Like, because that's a big diff with this Mario Kart. Like, I think that's where it could finally get me. Because something I liked about 8 Deluxe is they added like a battle mode or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't remember what that was, but I was like, oh, that's cool. Something if I don't want to race. Because honestly, racing games in general, I feel bad when I play them because it's like, if I fall behind, how do I catch up? What do I do? I don't know how to catch up. Blue Shell? Well,
Yeah, good.
but with 24 players now, what kind of madness? And you know what? That makes sense now too, because it's like the scale of it is a lot bigger.
Yeah.
I'm really curious, like what the modes are. So I am looking forward to that direct. But it being the launch title, does anybody have thoughts on that?
It's gonna look real nice for me. That's all I'm saying. When it comes to my fantasy, it's gonna look real nice.
Oh, that's right.
That's it.
That's
Yep.
right. I forgot. Kelvin drafted Mario Kart 9.
Big hammer.
Oh yeah.
Big hammer.
But overall, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think we kind of
It's gonna sell the system.
It's gonna sell the system, and then they bundled it with the Switch 2, which we'll talk about, I'm sure. So it's a smart move on their end.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know. I'm very curious, and I get where Rob was going about this being a very online focused one. You know, because they've always had, you know, they're multiplayer focused. Yeah, but I think it's more so let's open this up, and we're gonna talk about this later, and maybe create a platform, and that will justify what we charge for it and stuff, and like maybe that's why, and they just want to create this whole literal world with it that could just keep being updated and it's ongoing. And if you bought
like
it,
like a social hub, sort of
like their closest thing to a social hub / live service game that is truly like huge, like their Fortnite, so to speak. Which, if anything would do that, it would be freaking Mario Kart. But
I definitely
don't
see
know.
that. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah,
Can you
Rudy,
think
any
of
other? Yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead, Rob.
I was gonna say, can you think of any other launch titles that have released with a console that people are still playing to this day? Like, for example, Mario 8 Deluxe came out for the Switch, and people are still playing it.
That's a good
There
shout,
was
Rob.
support throughout the entire lifespan of the Switch. That's the other thing. Like, they were adding things continuously. So Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Mario Kart World just shows the strength of Mario Kart as a brand. So it only makes sense for them to go ahead and kick off with this, especially when it has features that are within the game that they're trying to sell. That online game chat and having that connectivity and being able to meet up anywhere in the world with your friends, given that they're paying for NSO, and being able to play together. You know, it makes sense.
Yeah, totally makes sense. I don't know. I'm curious to see how it does. So, by the way, Switch 2 exclusive.
Yeah.
So I was wondering about that. You know, like, are they going to commit to that? Are they going to give are they going to make the next Mario Kart a Switch 2 exclusive? And they did. It is only on Switch 2, and that's a big deal because that will move that console.
Yep.
Which we now know what the price of it is, and it's like, no matter how expensive it is, you're gonna buy it for Mario Kart. But we're gonna have a conversation later about that. yeah. But speaking of the console, I wanted to also bring up where I have my sheet. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I found this out afterwards. Apparently, they're gonna sell, because it's Nintendo, a wheel accessory.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
That
I didn't know that.
Sense.
Yeah. Fun. Yeah.
You know what bums me out real quick before we continue?
Really grinds
The,
my gears.
What grinds my gears?
It's my gears.
They never said like switch, like they never did like the snap, right? They did they showed off like how they're gonna like connect them or something, right? I just thought that was like odd, because I always thought with the magnets they were just going to like do something like this or something. I don't know. It just felt, I was like,
They
okay,
still
so they
still did the snap. They still snapped a couple times.
The
Yeah,
new
they did.
logo
They
is
didn't. They
like
did.
this.
I'm so glad they didn't do the clap. I was worried that they were shifting that, but no, they stuck with the snap, which I really appreciate. And even like you would see the logo sometimes, and it would just do the same snap. So
together.
it's like, oh,
Yeah.
thank goodness they haven't gotten rid of that. So I was actually pleased about that. But we do know though, like, so Mario Kart. I was about to say 9. Mario Kart World is launching with the Switch 2, and I might be mixing up a little bit of the chronological order in this next area, but we do know that the release date for Mario Kart World and the Switch 2 is June 5th. Yeah, June 5th. Where do we land on that? I'm happy about that because it gives time, because there's just never enough time to play all the games you want, but also I think that's a good marketing opportunity. Kel and Rudy can speak to this. You guys got kids. And imagine your kid coming home, like in the last couple weeks of school, and going, "Daddy, Mr. Robinson took my Switch too." Well, you shouldn't have brought it to school. like it's like that could happen now. That could happen. But
Very
yeah,
true.
June 5th.
I would
Rob,
Rob,
what do
let my
you-
kid take his Switch 2 to school, by the way, for the record. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
you
want-
wouldn't. But
No, I
but what if you
wouldn't.
didn't know? He's like, well, I told you not to bring it.
Playing.
Yeah, right.
How that would work.
I was
I
gonna
hope
ask
she doesn't
the
give
two
it back to you.
dads this.
Yeah.
What's up?
Are you buying your kids a Switch 2? Like as dads,
Ooh.
or that's what I want to know. Like, would you give your kid a Switch 2, given that's $450 at this point?
Given that it's $450,
Yeah.
hey, Kelly, you want to go first, or should I take it?
Well, like for me, at least my kids, my son's about to be 5, so this is not in his wheelhouse whatsoever. This is too
I could do that.
much of a big boy. You know what I mean? So yeah, no, I wouldn't. This is strictly for dad.
All right. So, for those of you that do not know, I have a tech channel. So I have a crap ton of just like random handhelds, random pieces of tech that are literally sitting there. My son can pick and choose whatever he wants to play with, whatever he wants. And literally, like 3 or 4 days ago, he comes up to me. He's like, "Dad, where's the Wii U?" So
The
we
Wii U?
literally the Wii U. So we literally, it's up there right now, but we like dusted it off, and he's all like, "Dad, I want to hack it." So we spent time like hacking it, getting into it. He literally did it, the whole shebang, and like we got Pretendo up and running, and he was playing games. He's like, that's what he wanted to do. Currently, he also has the 3DS, which is very easy to hack and mod if you guys are interested in it. It's less than 20 minutes. But he's like playing all these games that are there, and like here I have all of this, and he wants that. So if I were to get a Switch 2 right now, there's no guarantee that he would be even interested in it. He might, have like, oh, it's new and shiny, but he might just put it off to the side. For me, if I didn't have the channel, I don't want to put spoilers and stuff because I don't know if we're going to talk about this later on in the conversation, but let's just say I'm going to be getting it, and it's going to be for me. If he wants to play, he can play.
But Rudy, what about the camera? You know?
And that transitions me too. I want to bring this up because that is the next point I wanted to bring up. We now know what this long rumored and leaked C button is, which is chat. It is a feature that's all about chatting with your friends, with your community, and I was saying in the predictions last week that I'm like, look, there has to be something in this direct that is Nintendo as heck. And what I mean by that is the gimmick of but this is one of those things I'm actually all aboard because like, it's just them becoming modern, like this is the most, let's actually have chat in our system instead of forcing you to open the app and or like use Discord separately. And I can't even tell you, man, when I talk with people on Discord, when I'm on my Switch, it is the most frustrating thing because I have to have the right Bluetooth paired. It's ridiculous. So I am so happy that they are embracing the modern era and screen share, which is something. And I know there's going to be comments about the screen share. I see a head tilt from Rob.
60p, but it's good.
Yeah. But it's like, at least it's there. And freaking, hey, Xbox guy here. Xbox still hasn't done it. What the frick? They still haven't done it. PlayStation's done it. Now even Nintendo's done it. And if Nintendo's done it before you got a problem. You have a problem. So, I don't know. I'm actually kind of pleased with it. But I don't know if, does anybody want to jump in on like the C button and what they showed there? And yes, the camera too. But what was Rudy about to say? Because Kel was teasing that. It's like, what about the camera, Rudy?
Dude, like, okay, so I'm a primarily like single player guy, and my wife also, like, we all watched it together as a family, the direct around like noon, and we were like,
Oh, fun.
like, I don't know, and literally, it wasn't me, it was my son. My son was like, oh, this is a total ripoff of Discord, like 100%. The layout, the design, everything. Guys, my son's 9, and he's just like, that's totally Discord.
Yep.
So it's like, yes, they're modernizing, but it's also, and I also like the fact that they are with the camera, they are using like automatic cutout, so you can go ahead and like take out the background, so you have that feature as well. I really want to take apart the Switch 2. I want to see what's inside. I want to see what processor is there because I want to see what this thing is capable of. Chat is cool. It adds functionality. Now we don't have to have like this weird Nintendo app where we connect it and have a headset on so that we can play Splatoon with our guys and like actually play the games together. It's a nice feature. It sucks that it took so long for it to happen. One other thing, I'm very curious to see how the mic quality is because for that to work like that far away and it be good with a blender running in the background, like
that's what I was gonna say. Like they were showcasing it, like it's gonna be really good, especially with the blender, the freaking blender, dude.
Is the video camera itself gonna be having a mic, or is it gonna use the Switch's mic?
That's
my assumption is that it's gonna use the Switch's mic, but I mean, if it would be redundant if you were to buy a webcam and it have an additional mic in there, unless the mic is so dang good that it's worth getting it entirely. I don't know. It's just I don't know. I'm very curious to hear the quality. That's all.
Yeah, same.
I want to bring our fifth man in. I see Ninja Air, which shout out to Ninja Air. That's a patron. It's for sure a gimmick, but people are for sure gonna buy it. And then Dogtag going a feature from 2008. Wow. And I did see there was a fun little like thing I saw on Twitter or somewhere. It's like, look, guys, it's the 360 Connect kind of a thing. It's the Xbox 360 Connect. I was like, what? That's actually pretty funny. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm really curious about that mic too. What's up, Rob? Go for it.
I was gonna say I am surprised. I'm glad the price point is what it is for it. It's $50, I believe, $49.99, which I think is pretty fair for that. The fact that most of the cameras are like $60. If like Microsoft or Sony has a charge for them, they can get up there. But I think $50 is pretty good as an add-on for you. I'm glad it exists just because it's cool. It uses USB-C, which is that's a cool feature. But I'm happy about this because no matter what, we're gonna make fun of them because like, hey, welcome to the 21st century, guys. You know what I mean? Like we're no matter what. So like anything they would have pulled out would have been like, well, duh, we had this for a long time. But back to the conversation about Discord, your son saying that when I first saw like the way it was laid out in the like right now on the video, I was like, oh my god, do they have Discord integration? There's no way. Stupid part of me thought that. And I was just like,
they're not that far ahead, Rob. They're not that far ahead. Oh man, can you imagine? With all the apps they force you, hell no.
Nintendo fashion, they definitely like this was obviously like you said, Tony, like kind of like their gimmick. And I feel like they took a little bit too long to like really dive into this stuff. Like we already know what this is, right? Like this was a little bit of a fall point on my end. They talked a little bit too much about it, and I just felt like this is like a known quantity. Like we kind of already knew what the C button was. I mean, we kind of speculated, right? But for me, I just felt like they dived in too much, and I kind of wanted them to move on and to kind of just showcase more of the hardware, more of the games. Like we know what the chat feature is. Like we know what that does. We know how to utilize that stuff, right? So I was kind of slightly disappointed on that end.
I will say I hope that there's I think actually Onyx might have showed a tweet confirming it, but like just mic accessories, because if that's I'm with I think it was Rudy or whoever, I don't remember who brought it up, but just the microphone being on something that's 6 feet away with a grinder going in the background, like I hope that there is just a little headset or something. Because, yeah, that would be great. But, actually, so their voices are just going to come through the same speaker as the Switch. I didn't even think about that.
Huh. But there's noise cancellation, Tony.
I was going to say there's probably noise cancellation like most.
Well, no, what I mean is like the audio mixer. Like you're going to hear their voice. I basically like it's weird for me to imagine chatting with somebody without hearing them come through an ear while I listen through the TV or my headset or something. That's what I'm talking about. So it's like yeah. So it's interesting how they're doing that. Yeah,
it could be like audio ducking or something, but who knows?
And in that vein, so kind of on this is this is kind of a tease to stuff we're going to talk about towards the end, but the Switch 2 welcome tour. I don't understand what the hell, so this is a big tease as to what we're talking about later, and we've already alluded to it a lot, but like, they are going to include a game, or sorry, they're not going to include.
They're not including.
They're going to. They're not including it. They're making a game that will. They'll show you how the Switch 2 works and the things that went into it and things for you to try it or whatever. Think Wii Sports. Think the Mi Plaza. Think Astrobot. You know, all those things that get included with your system. No, you have to buy. You have to buy this game, and everybody's gonna buy it. They're lining up for it. That was just a weird. I don't know. That was. I don't understand. Actually, I do. It's Nintendo. It's Nintendo.
We don't know the price of it, right? We're assuming it's along the same price as all the other Nintendo titles.
$2.
I highly doubt that, man. It's just such a weird. It's such a weird way to showcase this, right? Like, why not just give this to the audience? Why not just kind of show like, hey, like this is kind of like our Astrobot of Nintendo, right? It's just weird. I saw that, I was like, wait, what? We're paying for this? Like, we have to pay for this? Like, no thanks, I'm good.
And yeah, go ahead, Rob.
I was just gonna say, like Nintendo, you're really showing your greedy side right now. Like, there's no reason for you to show. There's no reason for you to charge for this. There's apps, and plus, there's no one gonna buy it. I promise you, there's gonna be no one's gonna buy it. It's not gonna sell well. It's just not. So, like, why wouldn't you just get people more invested in the whatever the Switch 2 when they get to play it and just like have this free game with it, right? Like, it's just a weird decision, which I think that it just came up from up top. Probably they're like, we have to charge for it. Just like.
Well, I think Nintendo is very strict on giving away free stuff when they've worked on it for X amount of time. Like, that's just kind of like their way of, that's just kind of like their way of doing stuff. I think I read, or I don't know if I was reading Reggie's book or if I was like audio listening, but he did mention something of like he was like really forcing Nintendo like top dogs to like give, I think it was like Wii Sports or something like that along those lines, for it to be just kind of given for free for the consumers as opposed to selling it. So I think that played a key role into this. Obviously Reggie's not there Nintendo anymore, so they're like, let's charge for this baby.
Bro, you really took like the thought process out of my head, because that is exactly what I was going to say. Like, reading that book showed a lot of insight in terms of how Nintendo thinks, and they like to profit on everything, literally everything, from hardware to software to anything and everything in between. And this is just another sign that the people that are there, and I don't know how much pull Doug Bowser has, but based off of what we've seen, this shows that Nintendo is kind of out of tune with what is happening with their Western audience. Eastern audience, who knows? But the Western side of things, you're selling me a piece of software that's supposed to tell me about insights of the console itself? I'm sorry, what?
Yep.
Like PlayStation, who is smug as heck after coming from the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro, which was very successful in contrast to the Xbox, they gave us Astrobot, at least, to show the different functionality that was there with the DualSense and the processing power that is there on this device. Here we are going into next gen Nintendo Switch 2. My God, like, wow, they are cocky right now.
They even call it a tech demo. Like, if you read it, if you go into X, it's like it says a bunch of other mini games, tech demos. I'm just like, this doesn't add up, man. It doesn't add up.
I will say this was the only thing in the direct that we caught. Like, okay, we need to talk about upgrades too, but this is probably the most like blunt sign of greedy Nintendo that's within the direct. Yeah. There's other things that are questionable, but this is probably the most blunt thing. And our fifth man, like Steffi, she's saying like that demo was far from an Astro's Playroom. It doesn't even seem fun to try when I thought it was free. Like there's all these like these codecs open up and read, and that's what I mean. It would be great as a packaged thing. We're not questioning the thing itself, but it's just it being a paid thing is the weird part. That's all. It would be great as a part of the package. I actually got excited when I first saw it because I thought like, oh, the return of Mi Plaza. I thought that's what we were seeing.
Yep.
Yeah. And C2, it's crazy trying to charge for that. Like I said, they've lost their mind. And Supertone, I have hesitation buying a game that I'd like for more than $40. That is to say, no, I would not be buying that game. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. There will be some people that buy it. I'll be very curious, but kind of, Rob, I'm gonna let you go first here because I see you want to say something. But on that vein, I just want to bring up the mouse capabilities too. You know, that's a part of the Switch too, and I'm curious on if you guys feel like they showed that off well at all, because I have thoughts on it. But Rob, how do you feel about the mouse thing? And also feel free to wrap up that world tour if you have.
Yeah, I just want to point out I'm on the Nintendo 2 Switch website about Welcome Tour, and I just read, the more you explore, the more you'll get to know. Nintendo 2 Switch Welcome Tour is chock full of secrets you'll enjoy sharing with others. And then it says, some experiences require additional accessories sold separately.
I mean,
I feel like
I expect it. I expect that.
Good catch, Rob. You know? Good catch.
I was like, are you kidding me? Okay. All right. That's why my mouth was like wide open.
Hey, Rudy. Welcome to Nintendo Labo 2.
This is ridiculous.
Nintendo Labo, baby.
Oh,
but no, so the mouse capabilities though, like that was to be, I was really expecting they would show the mouse capabilities, and because that's kind of a new feature in terms of like, you know, we definitely have to talk about the tech too, which Rudy, I will be very curious on your take on that. But yeah, like I did predict correct. I did say that they would show a brand new game that highlights, you know, this is what you could do with the mouse. And that new game, I don't know if I like I don't want to step on any toes, but I just felt kind of uncomfortable with it. I don't know. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, oh, let's play as robots in wheelchairs. Is that the best way to really, you know, I don't, it's fine to do that.
I feel you. I felt,
you know, like that's good representation and all, but it's just like, is this the Nintendo way? Is this the Nintendo way to have a game that shows this? Like, at least ARMS seemed like a cool universe and idea and characters and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know if anybody has thoughts on this game. Did they show the mouse thing well? Go ahead.
So when it comes to this game in particular, I think they have a cool like concept. I think the way the characters look, I think they look pretty cool. It does give you that ARMS feel, so you never know. It could be a pretty decent hit for them. But besides that, it just felt out of place for Nintendo, like you said. So I'm interested to see a little bit more because I feel like it has potential. There's something there, but I just can't quite really see exactly what it is. I just need more information.
Why that game? Why? It's this is the part of the direct that now we're getting question marks. Like they started out super well. Okay, great chat. We got Mario Kart, and now you got you're paying for this welcome tour, and now we are showing the mouse feature with a wheelchair game. Like, guys, I don't know if this is the best way you're doing it. Like, you could have showed off Civ 7, right?
Yeah.
And, like, using the mouse. Or stick with Metroid Prime, right? With the mouse feature, right? Like, use that to show it off, right? You can actually play your FPS games with a mouse, right? For all the people that are like, oh, you gotta use mouse and keyboard, right? Like, you can actually play your first person, which I'm shocked they didn't really show off first person shooters using the mouse feature. That's weird.
What I'm saying. Yeah, like you're spot on, Rob. They could have made it like a whole, because the third party segment, which we'll talk about, like I think they did that great. Just like bam, 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 bam. Here's all these partners that we have.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you have done something like that when you're just talking about the mouse for like 3 or 5 minutes and just like, here's Civ 7, here's our first, sure, mix this game into that, but like just making this kind of the star of that as well as the World Tour thing. I don't know. Like Patrick is saying, the wheeled Rob out of hospice. Yeah, I don't know. Like. And yeah, Alex, we went from ARMS to wheels. Nintendo really does it all. I don't know. Yeah. Rudy, what do you think?
It's I don't know. It feels weird. It feels off. It feels lackluster. Like, I don't know. And I agree with Rob. Like, seeing the mouse functionality, I was like, oh my God, there are so many people that complain about MMORPGs, about like RTS games, like first person shooters, all these games that simply just work better with a mouse because of that, having that accuracy. Like even Fortnite would benefit from something like this, and you choose to display it in that fashion, which is the thing that kind of like took me a little bit aback. Now, like that we have a little bit of like all the cards, now we kind of know a little bit more of like what it is that they're doing. I want to see more information on it. It's just I'm also kind of like it's a Joy-Con. Like I'm afraid. I'm genuinely afraid as to whether or not this is going to be something that is going to operate smoothly, whether or not it's going to, you know, be comfortable to use for a long period of time, and whether or not, you know, this is something that would, I don't know, just compete. Because that's another thing. When you talk about like games that use a mouse, you want to be able to essentially just keep it going and be able to use it and compete with other people that are playing on PC. If there's a game that has crossplay, are you going to be able to be up there with everyone else? I wonder if this even integrates with like Splatoon and things like that. Is it backwards compatible? Yeah. Like there's so many questions that I like have about this functionality, you know?
I think that's something that I just thought of. It's like, why not have showed somebody just navigating the UI, which I guess we didn't even see actually, but why not just show somebody navigating the UI with it?
Yeah.
You know? That would have been cool. It would have kind of given a harken back to the Wii days when that's how you had to navigate the Wii. So I don't know. I just think I don't think the wheelchair game is a bad thing. It's just a weird. It was just a weird way to demonstrate that, and as well as World Tour. But anyway,
can I?
Yeah,
I say real quick. I really wish this was a dream, like a hope that they would have done it to show it off. Is they would have announced like a new WarioWare game. And I feel like that would have been really cool to show off the mouse.
Perfect,
right? Like
that would have been so good.
Yeah,
we got wheelchair game instead.
We got wheelchair. We got wheelchair, Rob. But okay, so this is where I'm sure Rob and Kill will understand. Let's get Rudy's take on. We now know the specs of this freaking system. Mr. I analyze every single handheld out there, man. You're an awesome channel. Shout out to Baldly Rudy. Go to him. And like, oh my goodness, man. We now know that this thing is I mean, I'm sure it's DLSS. Like, somebody feel free to correct me, but like, if it's docked, it is gonna be able to do 4K 60. If it's a handheld, it's a bigger screen. I was somebody that was really like, I'm hoping that you do multiple SKUs, make a 400 LED version, of 450 or 500 OLED version. But then they also confirmed, well, we don't have OLED, but here's HDR and VRR and 120 hertz on a 1080p screen. And I admit I'm like, you know, I'll take it. I'll take it. But like, I don't know, like it's neat specs. I don't know if I was really that impressed with the things shown. So, I don't know, Rudy, you jump in. Like, what do you think about in terms of the specs and like maybe things visually and where you land on that?
So, real talk, I did not expect 4K anything at all, whether there was upscaling or anything like that. So I came in just being like I said, 1440p, maybe.
Hey, Rudy, can I call you out on that for a second? Didn't you bet on Onyx's special? Yeah, we'll see Link running at 4K 60.
Yeah.
Or actually, maybe you didn't. I don't remember. Okay.
Because at that point, I was drinking the Kool-Aid, bro. Like,
you were on a high.
I was drinking the Kool-Aid, and I was like, "Yo, let's go." But no, like real talk. Like when I looked at it, like analytically, I was just like, "I want this. This is what I want. These are my hopes and dreams." But it's Nintendo, and like that's where it kind of like pulled me back, right?
Mhm.
So spec wise, I have literally just sitting here, just an ROG Ally, right? It's a PC handheld, got a Z1 Extreme chipset. I've got the Steam Deck, whatever. Those all have 120 hertz refresh rate screens, VRR, 1080p, LCD panels, beautiful. Now, in the experience of playing games, 3D games rarely hit 120 frames per second, unless they're like kind of oldish, right? It is the lighter titles, whether they're 2D or emulated games that don't really require that much horsepower. Those are the games that you're going to see that are typically going to hit that breaking point. Sometimes you might like take a 720p image or a 900p image and upscale to 1080p. That technology, you know, boosting up to 4K is not pretty from AMD's side. NVIDIA is an entirely different story. They've got upscaling down. So if we have a Tegra chip in here that is, a better version of what we had on the original Nintendo Switch, can pump out the frames and the resolution to hit 4K at 60 FPS, I'm impressed. 1080, 120, I'm impressed. Now, are we going to see that with third party? Probably not. We'll see. Like the Metroid Prime 4 trailer where they showed that it was either 60 FPS at 4K or 120 FPS at 1080. That kind of like showed a little bit. And I don't know if you guys noticed the little text on the bottom. If you looked handheld mode, it was 60 FPS at 1080 and then 120 at 720p. So like what that signifies to me is that the power is there, and we might be able to see that later on with like more titles. But I think eventually, as the console ages, we're going to see less of that functionality with third party, and we may eventually stop seeing it with first party, because Nintendo's really good at optimizing their games for their hardware. I'm super curious, because looking at something like this is not optimized to run every game that is out there. It is optimized to just be powerful, right? And then all of the drivers that are there they come in, they're updated, and so on and so forth. With a console, the beauty of a console is that you're building something, and you are building a game to play in its box. You know the ins and outs of that sandbox. Mm-hmm. And with that, you know the resources that you have and where you can allocate them with the game itself. So I'm super curious to see how this like runs in real world scenarios. I'm gonna push it and play with it and see what happens. I'm excited about it. But yeah, no, dude. And then on top of that, HDR, VRR, like, come on, like, it's not OLED, which to be honest, I wanted, but they're gonna sell a Switch 2 OLED version like 2-3 years down the line. That's what I expect. I don't know. What about you guys?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Bro.
A question for Rudy. Back to like you were mentioning about as the console ages. Do you think in about? I mean, this is future us talking, but like 7-8 years, are we gonna have the complaints that we now have with the Switch, where like it's completely outdated? It needs to be updated. Do you see this thing, I guess, aging better than the Switch did at its cycle, and it's in the same cycle?
Okay, so
with the specs it has, yeah.
Dude, it is such an interesting time right now, because in the laptop world, you know how like GPUs, they come out and they're like super power hungry, and you need to like get a new PSU, a new power supply unit to like power those things. Yep. In the laptop world, that is not the case. It has been stuck at around 175 watts for like the past 3-4 generations. So this is where NVIDIA and AMD have kind of like shifted away from being like, okay, we can't, give this more juice, so we have to fix it from the software side. And that's why FSR and DLSS are like such a big thing. When it first came out, people were like, whatever, I want like full rasterized graphics, blah, blah, blah. But with laptops, since you don't have more power to allocate, you need to figure out a way using software to make things like render better, look better, and be more responsive, and have a higher resolution, right? So depending on the chip that is in this handheld, we might be okay. We might be fine in the sense that like this is NVIDIA tech. If it is something that came out 2 years ago, I think we'll be fine for a long time, given that the software will be patched and things will be able to like run smoothly, and there will be updates in DLSS. Like I have an NVIDIA 3080. I've had this for I don't even know how many years. I think I got it in 2020, 2021. And I've installed DLSS 4 on it. That's the only way that I've been able to play Monster Hunter Wilds on my PC, because I need that DLSS 4 in order to get frame generation in to be able to play games, which is a whole other conversation. Is this Nintendo Switch 2 going to have frame generation? That's another thing. They never talked about that. The technology is there, right?
But would they ever, though? Would they ever? Like, I feel like, the Nintendo audience, I don't feel like they would really care too much.
Way too,
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not talking about like a toggle or anything like that. They would literally just turn it on without saying anything. Like,
right.
Because the Nintendo, you said it yourself, the Nintendo audience is too far out for them. So they wouldn't even think about it. They wouldn't think about latency. Like our eyes, they get so used to it that we don't think about it. It's typically like the hardcore, like super dirty nerds that like go into it and are like, well, I noticed that this had a 0.05 millisecond response time longer than when I was using my connected mouse. So you suck. You know, like people don't think about that stuff. But using DLSS 4, assuming that that's what is, that chipset is capable of, it's a possibility, man. Like where you'll be able to get more frames to help you play games better. The latency that is found in DLSS 4 is insane. Absolutely insane, man. It is truly exciting. I'm still waiting for like a review unit to be able to do stuff and test things out. But the future is bright. I don't think that we're going to run into problems given that premise that I'm throwing out there, that if it's able to have that, we won't run into problems for quite some time.
Cool. But is it HDR bright? I mean, I don't know, Rudy. That's awesome. I appreciate your opinion on that. And it's like, because you bring up a lot of good points. And it's like, I'm one of those people that it's like, is DLSS, is native 4K, is it really that noticeable? I feel like I'm with you that it's like the hardcores will see it, but the general public won't. Right. And I think that's what Nintendo's playing on, where it's just, like just look at what our system can do. That's the thing. So
very Apple.
It's very Apple.
Yeah.
It's very Apple.
Yeah.
It's very Apple. I don't know if there was anything visually that like grabbed you guys though, like when Metroid Prime 4 was shown or Pokemon. I thought Pokemon, I definitely noticed definitely less. What is aliasing? Is that when like the edges get all fragmented or something?
Yeah, aliasing is where like you get like pixels where you see like the blocks on like the edge of like a character. So like the anti-aliasing is like up, like
for sure.
And like you see that more with like low resolution upscaling most of the time. But dude, like look, just talking about like, I don't know if you want to talk about this now, but like the upgrades that are there, like there was a very evident difference between the Zelda that I was playing on my Nintendo Switch OLED and the Zelda that I saw on screen. Like Tears of the Kingdom was not choppy, and that is impressive.
It was not. You know what I liked? Though? I'm sorry, Rob. They literally went to the worst area in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. They went to the Korok Forest. That was awesome. Of all the things, they went to the worst place. That was a great way to. They knew though. That was a great way to show it. Go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
I was just gonna say I really noticed it with Metroid Prime 4. Right? Like I was like, this looks, because we just saw the other trailer from the Nintendo Direct. Previously, and I thought that looked good, and then I switched over to this, and I was like, wow, this looks so good. Like this was like
a difference for sure.
There was a big difference, and I'm like, ooh, that's the version I want. I want that version of the game instead of the Switch version. So I thought pretty big upgrade, pretty huge upgrade.
Do you think so in general, like while we're on this and kind of we're transitioning back to the games here, the upgrades? So we're learning about like, okay, here's what the Switch could do. Here's the upgraded specs and stuff. But some games, keyword some games, will get a visual upgrade, or we're just going to add straight up new content to. Like on if you're watching the video version of this, I have Legend of Zelda, both Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild running, and it was confusing because like, oh, we're going to add this function on the map where you can share. I thought this was cool. You could share your creations you made in Tears of the Kingdom. With the builds and everything, and I just thought that was interesting that, like, for Kirby and the Forgotten Land is the most prime example, in my opinion, because we're just straight up going to add a whole other world or level for you, but I don't know if it's like cool, at least you're giving us a reason to purchase the upgrade, but my question that I'm very curious about, and it's Nintendo, so, I have my expectations pretty low. If you bought a game physically, what happens? If you bought a game physically, you know what I mean? Because you purchase a digital upgrade. So can you purchase a digital upgrade to upgrade your physical version, or is that only available for the digital versions? That's something I'm really curious about.
No, it's like getting like if you're playing Monster Hunter Wilds, like if you played Rise. I bought a physical copy of Monster Hunter Rise, but Sunbreak came out, and that came with like a ton of like content. I paid, you know, whatever, $25-$30 or whatever for the expansion, and all that got added into the game. The same thing's going to happen. Like that, and this will go later on in the conversation. My assumption is that we're going to talk about all this stuff, but that cartridge that you have pretty much tells Nintendo, oh, he's playing a physical copy of a game, that therefore there are all these files that up-res all of the textures and all of the things that are happening within the game for a nominal fee of $10, $15, $20. And then all of a sudden, you can play that game on your Nintendo Switch 2. Now, obviously, though that Forgotten Lands expansion isn't going to work on your Nintendo Switch 1, but all of the files, all of the visual fidelity, it'll be there readily available. Just, you know, it's like a patch, man.
Yeah. What do you guys think about like them actually making the upgrades have additional content? Kel?
I think it's great. I mean, I think again, it's kind of like that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe kind of you know, feel to it, right? Where you're just getting more bang for your buck in a sense. I mean, you're paying for it still, but overall, I mean, it's good. The more content that you get from a game, the better. Like, I think it's just always great to continue that, you know.
Yeah. I don't know. The upgrades don't quite sell me, especially if I've already played a game. That's the thing. If I've already played it, then I'm kind of like, I don't need to go back. That's just
Even
me,
if it has
but
the
I don't know.
additional content, though.
Right.
See, and that's the
what
thing, Rudy.
pushes it back.
That's
there's DLC.
Okay.
And maybe that's what they're thinking. Maybe it's like at first, let's just add some content, but then once we've got all these major ones out of the way, then it'll just be a basic upgrade. Who knows? Yeah. Oh, but this is something that if this is part of news afterwards, but I'll just mention it because we're talking about upgrades. I was correct. They did say that if you are part of the expansion pass or expansion pack membership or whatever, some games will be upgraded for free. Some games.
Oh,
So
I missed that.
that's interesting. Yeah, they said for sure the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom will. I think that's all they listed for now. I could be wrong, but in the picture they showed Metroid Prime 4 there, so it's like I don't know. So some will, some won't. But I want to bring our fifth man for a moment. So Steffi saying the specs always come second to me when I consider buying a console. Better specs are always a nice bonus. It will always be the amount of games I want to play on the console that wins me over. I feel like we could all agree on that. And especially with Nintendo. Yeah. You know, you don't go to Nintendo for the fancy graphics, even though I admit I kind of was hoping for a bit more of a visual leap in this direct. I'm not disappointed that there wasn't. I did. I was kind of hoping there was a little bit of a leap.
What you were expecting?
I can't tell you, man, but I just think of I saw Dog Tag Duke earlier watching saying like, you know, oh, it's the running on PlayStation 3 graphics and everything. And I was going to debate that, but now I'm like, you know, it kind of looks like PlayStation 3 graphics, but up-res and better frame rate and stuff. But I remember that jump. That was the last noticeable jump that we've had.
Yeah.
It was the 360 to the 1. It was the PlayStation 3 to the 4. We didn't notice a jump when the 4 went to 5 or 1 to series. So I was kind of hoping this would be Nintendo's like last big jump or something. And I personally didn't see that too much other than the frame rate. The frame rate definitely, but
can I make a
Rudy,
comment about that?
Or okay.
I was gonna say, so I think if they go too realistic and the graphics become too, they lose the Nintendo-ness of it.
Correct. Right? I agree. Yeah.
That I think that's why we're like they don't make that huge jump because you're just like then it doesn't look like a Nintendo game anymore. It looks like
Well, I think the biggest leap is Metroid Prime. I think for me, it just looks extremely, high quality. But
Cal, you're too hot, man.
Yeah,
you're too hot, man.
Too hot, dude. Too hot, bro. Caliente.
Those cameras having issues.
Caliente, papa. No, but what I was gonna say is that like, first off, the biggest visual fidelity, like visual jump, in my opinion, was going from 2D to 3D. We're talking about SNES. Going into N64 era. That was the biggest, and then after that, going from PlayStation 1 to PS2. That was a huge jump. Huge jump. The jump, like, first off, like, I played PS3. I played when Dead Space Remake got announced. I played Dead Space, the original, on PlayStation 3. Mm-hmm. Guys, this looks a hella better than PlayStation 3 did not look good. And I know that that's like a rhetoric that has been repeated online often in like the Twitterverse. it's hyperbole, 100%. I think that this looks leaps and bounds better than PlayStation 3. I think we're looking at PS4 Pro levels of visual fidelity, but even still, we won't know. We're looking at it through a screen. We won't know until we actually have it in our hands, until we actually have it plugged in.
I agree with that.
And seeing it rendered in full time. That's one of the things that, like, when a pretty game gets announced, I'm like, great, this looks awesome. This trailer is beautiful, but I want to see how it's actually rendering in real time, because this could be not even running on the hardware that they're going to be selling it to me for. It's going to be running on the latest and greatest GPU and CPU combination. So I take all of that with like a grain of salt. I would rather see it firsthand in person, maybe play a demo. That being said, there is, in terms of performance, there's a huge performance difference between what we saw here running on the Nintendo Switch 2 versus Nintendo Switch 1. And that to me is exciting. I want to play these games and have the best experience possible. And like, yeah, and to kind of like answer, I think it was Steffi's question about like, or no, Dog Duke about specs are important to me, or was it that, or was it Steffi? No, it was Steffi. That's specs come second. 100% when you're talking about Nintendo products, like specs definitely don't matter as much. And this is why I was surprised by that 4K that was given. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, Nintendo's primary objective is always to provide a game that is fun. That's like their primary objective. They want it to be fun. They want it to have a good time. Everything else comes second, at least based off of like my experience in the games that I've played. Like that's just how I see. I don't know.
So, and I want to bring up, speaking of, you mentioned Steffi earlier, just to wrap up the kind of upgrade topic, she says, if upgrade packs cost more than $20, I hope it has more content. I'm worried how it'll add up if I like upgrade 5 games. And that's a good question as to like if, I have an Inception thing going on in my multicam. If essentially, I wonder if it's like a case by case. I hate that phrase in gaming. Let me tell you what. But I wonder if it's going to be a case by case thing where it's like, if it's just a visual upgrade, $5. If we add content, $15.
Which is frustrating. It's very frustrating that they're doing this way, because they're becoming they're doing the most Nintendo things ever with these, like maybe this, like maybe that will be that and that will be that, and I'm like, no, like what's the structure here? Because they're kind of just jerking us around at that point, right? Like I don't like. I don't want them to get into this thing where like you're Nintendo, so we're just going to pay whatever you ask us to pay, right? At some point, people are going to get annoyed at it and be like, we're just not going to pay, right? Like it's not going to be worth it. And I don't want it to be like that. I don't want it to get that point. Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay.
Onyx, by the way, just saying, just throwing that.
I did see Onyx was here. Yeah.
Just wait until
what do you say?
Makes with our first Switch 2 game. Oof. That'll be good.
Oh, Monolith, yeah. But that's what I mean. It's like, that's what I want to see. It's like, I'm not questioning, because I agree with everything that's been said. Like, you don't go to Nintendo for high graphics and stuff like that. I just admit, like, I don't know. I just want to be not blown away, but close to that level. And that's just me. But in terms of, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Monolith can do with the technology, because that's what I want to see. I want to see, and it's also the first year. That's something else I want to remember too. Because that's a big thing with all console generations, is like the first year or two, you might not see that much of a jump. So that's fair. That's very fair. And back to what, and also Calvin's back. Yay.
I'm back.
Now, back to the freaking games. The partnered stuff. We had this whole segment of partnered stuff. I alluded to this earlier where it was just bang, 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 bang. Here's EA. Here's, Ubisoft was in like the sizzle reel, but not like a segment. Here's 2K, here's Borderlands, here's all these things, and I'm just curious if there was anything that was a standout to anybody here. I'm sure there's things we all think of, but Silksong. Okay, let's talk about Silksong. Let's talk about the 5 seconds we saw of Silksong.
That's the most that we've seen in like 5 years. Silksong. And they gave us a year, 2025.
Yes, they did. Yes, it did. We have a year of 2025, but it's confusing. I've seen people go like, "We'll see," because we sort of got a release window at like the 2022 Xbox showcase where they're like, "Yeah, every game we showed is within the next 12 months." That worked out for like 60% of the games there, but Silksong was not one of them. So after that, they were like, "Yeah, we're we're not going to talk about it again until we're ready. So, but yeah, 5 seconds of Silk Song. I don't know. It was literally a drive-by announcement, and I'm sure currently Onyx is very happy about that because that's his fantasy critic. So,
I also wanted to ask: is anybody here like a fan of like Undertale or Deltarune?
Let's go!
I was sad because I never played Undertale, but I could just tell all of the Undertale fans were so hyped, like Tony right now, and I'm just like, I should have played that game. I should have played that freaking game. I should play it. I should play it. Right?
It's not that long, Rob. It's not that wrong. It's not that long.
No,
Yeah.
dude, I will buy it for you. Like, please, like, play it.
Yeah.
And the PC is the best experience.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
PSA to anybody that does play Undertale for the first time, do the pacifist route first. You know, that means you're not going to kill any monsters. You'll understand what I mean. But even if you think you have to kill one, I promise you there is a way. And you will thank me. You'll thank me. You'll thank me. Don't kill a single monster when you play it. So
got it.
That's my PSA. Anyway, because you'll experience one of the most charming stories ever. But yeah, Deltarune. I'm like, it's funny because I haven't played Deltarune yet, but I love Undertale. I know, Rudy. But listen to my reason. It's because I don't want to start it and then have to stop. I want to play the whole thing. I want to experience the whole story that Toby Fox made as whatever this is, a mirror or whatever to Undertale, and I don't want to have to wait for the next chapter. So, I don't know. That's where I'm at, so that's why I looked at this. Let me know if you're aware or if you're watching or after the replay. Is this it, or is there another chapter or two?
I think there's 7 chapters total, if I remember correctly.
Damn it!
But I would be remiss to not recommend it, man. Like you have to give it a go. At least like I think the first 2 chapters are still free, so you can try it. And like the music, the puns, the characters, the writing, it's up there, man. Like it's up there. It's up there with Undertale. The only difference is that like
I'm sure,
as far as I can tell, there isn't like a pacifist or genocide route. As far as I can
as
tell.
far as we know, knowing Toby Fox, as far as we know, you know.
As far as we know.
I mean,
but dude,
Onyx is with me. He's like, I'm in the same boat as Keebs, but 7 chapters. Yeah, it's hard. We'll see. I don't know, man. I don't know. Patrick's in the chat saying, I don't like episodic games, so Deltarune is a hard no for me. But what about when it's complete, Patrick? Because that's how I feel about episodic stuff in general. It's like if I freaking Life is Strange or Walking Dead or whatever, I want to play it when it's finished, but that's just me. But yeah, Deltarune.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Deltarune, we got release date. It's coming out the same, or chapter 3 and 4, it's coming out the same day as Switch 2. As Rudy said, Silk Song, quick drive-by of a release window for that of literally 5 seconds. I don't know if there's anything else that popped out to you guys. Let me actually ask you guys a question. As Rob and Kel, you guys kind of swear by the PS Portal, and Rudy has so many different handheld devices. The way these games are running, not to bring us back to that, and I don't want to talk too long about it, but it's like, you know, do you see yourself wanting to play these partnered games on this instead of your Rogue Ally, instead of your PS Portal? That maybe one you haven't played, you know, like if you had the choice, you know what I mean? If somebody hadn't played Elden Ring, would you want to play that on this, or would you want to get that on your PS5 or your PS Portal? You know, because that's coming to Switch, Elden Ring.
Cyberpunk,
What do you think,
that's
Kel?
crazy. I still can't believe
Cyberpunk.
that was actually announced. No, I think it's just, for me, Nintendo games or Nintendo systems are strictly Nintendo titles, right? I
That's
love
where
to
I'm at.
play like all the first party titles that Nintendo has to offer, and that's kind of like my main thing. These third party games, I'm excited for some of them. Like I can definitely see myself. I think I played Hades 1 on my Switch OLED, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. So I know it might be kind of a little downgrade since we don't have an OLED, but playing Hades 2 on the Switch 2 would be pretty freaking cool.
Yes.
That would be awesome. But there's a few ones here that I'll be like, you know what? I'll definitely try this on my Switch 2 as opposed to like my Portal or something like that.
That's a good point, Kel. I just want to shout that out because I think, like some games, why not? Because then you could have it portably, play it natively. Yeah. Like that's how I did Animal Well. I know it's an indie game that has basically no graphics. You know, it's a beautiful game, but like, I wanted to play that on my Switch because I don't need to play it in super like 4K 60 frame or whatever. Not for that kind of game. So that's a good point. Yeah. I don't know. Feel free.
Curious for you, Final Fantasy VII Remake. What did that do
Oh,
for you?
dude.
Like for a Switch?
Yeah.
I'm glad that it's on it so people can experience it on the go. I think that's really, really cool, and not have to take this big bulky handheld to really experience it. Because that's the magical part about the Switch. The Switch is so portable compared to some of these other handhelds because it's so thin. It can easily fit into your backpack with you on the go. That's what I love about the Switch. Like, don't get me wrong, I love my portal, but it's weird, oddly shaped, and I have to kind of like find a special case for it. The Switch is just so thin, and the battery life's amazing on it. And I can, if I want to play with friends right then and there, I can. I just here's a freaking, what is it? Wiimote, not Wiimote. Oh my god, what are they called? The stupid Joy-Con. Joy-Con. There you go.
Joy-Con.
Yeah, Joy-Con. Yeah, so for me, there's definitely, I'm excited to play some third-party stuff on there, just because I think the Switch is king when it comes to as a portable console itself, right? Like, you know, I'm not talking shit about all your handhelds, Rudy, but like, you can't deny that the Switch is so good at being portable versus those ones because they do have a bit of a heft to them.
Well, the UI too. The UI, but yeah, go ahead, Rudy.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say that like it's the user experience. So like, you know, looking at the ROG Ally, like you boot it on, it's Windows, and like that is the biggest downside to it. SteamOS just came out, so you can have SteamOS on your ROG Ally. Actually, it's not Bazite, which is pretty cool. There's still some bugs and kinks that are there, but it's still, you know, that user experience that's there. I think the best handheld is the one that you have with you. Like, I really truly believe that, because when, for example, Death Stranding, when I was playing Death Stranding, it did not click on me, or click with me on the PlayStation. I started playing it on my Steam Deck, and all of a sudden, I was like, oh my God, this is such a phenomenal experience. What have I been sleeping on? This is such a good experience. And I think it was because of kind of going on with like Rob said about that portability factor of just being able to take this wherever I want. Everything's running on the handheld itself, and it's a beautiful experience. I think I would have to wait and see what is there with the Switch, because I'm not like most people. Like, I can play my games on my PC, play them on Steam. That save file loads up into the cloud, and then I can just go ahead and continue playing them on my handheld. And like, that's a beautiful, like, amazing synergy that's there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like where I'm like, yeah, like, it'd be great to render these games at like higher frames and, you know, whatever, but we also don't have the Switch 2 in our hands yet. And that's what I wanted. I want it in my hands to see whether or not it's actually, you know, good at running the games that are there. Am I going to play third-party games there? I would have to. For me, it's a wait and see. I want to see how well things run on there, because there are a lot of third-party games that I bought for my Nintendo Switch, like a lot. So I kind of just want to see. I'm curious.
I will.
The big
Go
ones,
ahead, Gal.
sorry, the big ones I want to really see are like Cyberpunk, Elden Ring. Like, how much is that going to like really push?
What's the difference?
Switch 2?
What's the difference?
Yeah. So I'll be really interested to see how big those pushes are going to be for the Switch 2. Real quick, I wanted to ask you guys a question. Now that I think Rob mentioned a little bit of the battery life, do you think the battery life is going to be on par with the Switch? Is it going to be worse? Like,
Can we talk rumors?
We could talk rumors. I mean, I don't see why not.
They're saying 2 to 5.5 hours. I think is either rumored or it's actually on Nintendo's website. I'm not 100% sure if it's either rumored or legit, but that is the number that I saw. And
Depending on the game,
depending on the game, obviously, because of the TDP and the wattage that's being consumed. Which kind of puts it up there with the ROG Ally X, puts it up there with the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus and the MSI 7. The Steam Deck, the OLED version, as well as the only thing that beats it is the PlayStation Portal, because there's no processing power that's happening on it, so it just streams. It's a streaming device. But yeah, no, in terms of battery life, like, I think that 2 hours is a good number. What do you guys think? Like a 2 hour minimum.
Minimum.
For a minimum, sure, yeah, but I admit I'm like, I want that minimum to be 3, you know.
Yes, I agree. Three for
yeah,
would be
that's a good. But then you can also charge it on the top of your Switch or the bottom of your
Yeah,
Switch
that's
now,
true.
which
You have a
is
you have a
nice.
port on the top. I'm happy about
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Yeah, Onyx says like 2 to 6.5 hours per Nintendo, or another
there you
dog
go.
tag says 2 to 5.5. Good. Yeah. Yeah, like it'll depend on the game, but we definitely have to talk about something third party that we haven't talked about, but I want to bring our fifth man in because there's a lot of messages I thought was interesting. Like Onyx brought up, I like when Nintendo gets games first, and that's probably how you would play the third party stuff. Like you brought up Monster Hunter Rise. That's a great example. Stardew Valley, Alex Ramen Noodle said, that's what I'm talking about with like not Animal Crossing, Animal Well, like just games that won't require that. Dog Tag Duke pointed out Reanimal was in that sizzle. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Reanimal. I definitely won't play that on my Switch because I want to see that in like the crispest detail possible because it's a horror game and that aspect, like I want to be freaked out kind of by it, or disturbed is the more accurate reason. This is a funny comment Alex also said. Enter the Gungeon 2. Looks cool. Or sorry, it's not that, but I still haven't beat the first one. Somebody brought up, I forgot where it was, but somebody was like, I wish people knew about Gungeon, but it probably happened during that part of the stream that Nintendo just froze. Were you guys watching that with that?
Yeah.
Oh
Did
my
that happen
God,
for
that
you?
was awful. Yeah.
It froze for like 2 minutes, and it's like, oh my
I was
god!
freaking out. I was legit freaking out. I was like refreshing my tab.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, imagine streaming your reaction. Then you feel like you're in trouble, and it's like, I'm sorry, guys, it's not me. It's a
not
stream,
me.
I swear. And I appreciate the folks that shouted. They're like, go to the UK stream. Go to the UK stream. I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, there's a lot of games that could potentially. But the one that like everybody is talking about, man, FromSoft is making a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive game. The next FromSoft game that is not Elden Ring Night Rain. It's a brand new title from them. And not just a brand new title. It's the closest thing to a Bloodborne 2. And it's a Switch 2 exclusive.
Tony,
That's insane.
If I came from the
insane.
future and told you, like, hey, Tony, by the way, this Switch, the Direct 2 here, we're going to see, like, a From Software game exclusive to the console, like, directed by Miyazaki, is it? Right? Miyazaki? Miyazaki. Thank you. Like, that to me was, like, unheard of. When I was watching that, I was, like, on the Discord, I'm just like, this is not real. Like, I am, like, foaming right now. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, literally sending gifs of someone foaming at the mouth.
Yeah.
There's no way. Like, I can't. It's not even that. Like, one, that's a huge get, right? That's a huge get.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm also kind of surprised in this day and age that, like, Square Enix and Ubisoft and everybody is like, yeah, we need to be on everywhere. We need to post everywhere now. And here's FromSoft going like, nah, we'll do a deal with Nintendo and make the closest thing to Bloodborne 2 possible and just make it on their system to like say, you know what, PlayStation, screw you, kind of a thing. And it's like, I'm with you, Kel. I would have never, ever have put this on a bingo card of any kind whatsoever.
Nope.
So,
But it
I
looks
don't know.
so good. It looks so good.
dude, it does.
Now, it is multiplayer mostly, right? It's a multiplayer game from when I was reading.
That's a good
that
shout.
It's not
Yes.
a single player game, which is interesting to me.
Yes,
I
it is
thought-
supposed to be they said like a PvPvE game. Very similar. Well, actually, Night Rain isn't PvP at all. It's just totally PvE as you're working
Yep.
together. So this one, it's a mixture of the two, I guess. And that's supposedly what they're saying. It's a mixture of everything. So maybe don't expect, a big grand adventure like a Dark Souls or like an Elden Ring. But it's funny because there's still a lot of like characters in this, look like sometimes cutscenes. I don't know, but it's interesting, man. There's guns and there's blood.
Is it
Blood-
the
Bloodborne
spiritual
2.
successor to Bloodborne? Is this what is that what we're seeing
I mean,
or no?
you could kind of. I don't think it is, but to me, at first, it kind of looked like Castlevania. I was like, oh shit, like
Yeah.
this is Castlevania.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
the more we saw it, the more of FromSoft we started seeing, and I'm just like, oh man, like they're doing it. They're actually doing it.
They have
I
a
don't-
style that you just will always see.
Dude, yeah, they have a style that you can't you could definitely tell apart. But
Mhm.
this looks great, man. Like everything about this, I love just the theme of it. I think I've talked to you, Rob, countless times. I love that like dark, kind of like theme that like Bloodborne has. This obviously
Gothic.
looks to have the gothic look to it. This looks to have the same kind of tone. So I'm all about this. Like I cannot wait for this. I hope it runs well.
Yeah, I hope it runs well. Exactly. Yeah, yeah, and I could tell. Like, yeah, this is the Switch level of a thing. But Rudy, go ahead. What's up?
No, I was like, I think that this is it's like a PvPvE, which is fine. I initially thought that it was like, oh, this is like a vampiric take on the Souls formula. So initially I was like, oh, this is gonna look good and this is gonna be amazing, and it does look good, and there is probably going to be Miyazaki levels of lore in it, but it's just the mechanics are what I'm curious about, because obviously Souls games aren't really known about their visual fidelity. They aren't known about they're known for their lore, but I'm curious how well the mechanics will blend together with the mechanics that we've seen in Souls games. So like, will that battle royale sort of style blend well with Souls games? I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm not, like, me personally, I'm not getting Night Rain. I don't know if you guys are. So I'm curiously optimistic. Let me put it like that. Curiously optimistic. Yeah. I'm hopeful. I want to learn more.
Yeah, Rob.
I was gonna shout Supertone. We have Bloodborne at home.
I don't get it.
It's like making fun of like Dusk, what is it called? Duskblood? Bloodborne?
Duskblood. Yeah.
It's like it's like it's like Bloodborne, but like the home version. Like, we have,
oh,
it's like that meme. Yeah, that's why that was funny. It was like, wait.
I didn't want to see people popped off for this. So yeah, C2 says it looks fairly different from Bloodborne, but setting wise, it's very Bloodborne. Patrick also, I'm absolutely freaking stoked for the Duskbloods. Funny, it's just like it has blood in it. When I saw that it was switched to exclusive, I almost had a KBG level crash out if the rest of my family weren't asleep. I'm curious what you mean by the crash out, Patrick, but like, did your chair fall over? What does that mean? Dog tag looks okay. Probably, yeah, he ripped his shirt. Dog tag looks okay. Probably an asset flip that was cheap to make. That's why it's an exclusive. Not a huge risk for Fromsoftware. I would wonder that too, if that's a factor where it's like, let's just make a small thing for the Switch and not, like we're going to put our hearts and soul into it, but scale wise, it's like a third of what we usually do. FromSoft, man.
So they're just writing on the IP. They're just writing on the Miyazaki and FromSoftware name, and they're just like, hey,
no, they're not just putting something out. They're not just putting something out. They're putting their heart and soul into it. It's just like a third, the scale is what I mean. The scale.
But Miyazaki being like actually a part of this, to me, makes it seem like it's a much more than just kind of like a cash out kind of thing, right? Because like I feel like he wouldn't be involved if that was something that they were just kind of trying to do, like quick flip.
Yeah.
Was he involved in Night Rain by any chance? Do you guys know?
I don't know. Probably not. I don't imagine so. Okay. Kind of established the base for that. So, yeah, Patrick's confirming. I almost threw my bed out the window. Got it. That's the Kiwi freak out.
Nice.
You must be pretty strong to throw your bed, man. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but that was a crazy, man. I just would have never put that on the bingo card. And then one more thing in terms of all those partners and stuff. I really don't have much to say about it. I'm curious if you guys do, but just shout out to a partner going back to what we closed with. Another Hyrule Warriors being developed by Koei Tecmo, and I had a buddy I talked about this with, and he's like, man, I gotta tell you, I like the Fire Emblem Warrior games. I like the Zelda Warrior games. I was really hoping to see something different, like a Mario Warriors or something. And I was like, explain! he's chucking fireballs or his boomerang or whatever, just hurting bunches of Goombas or whatever. But I don't know. I honestly, like, to me, in terms of the first party thing, I was like, oh, okay. But I don't know how you guys felt about it. But
first party stuff?
Well, just I don't know, the Hyrule Warriors thing. Like, for me, I don't got much to add on that. But like, cool for the folks that want it.
Yeah, I thought that was cool that they kind of like did the whole twist, right? Like, you're kind of like seeing it from Zelda's perspective, right? Like, we've not done that before, from what I understand. So that was cool. Like, I like that part of it. But other than that, I don't really have much to say.
Yeah. I think first party wise, that was probably the underwhelming announcement. But they definitely followed it up though, and I do want to shout out a poll that I asked earlier, like with that third-party conversation. I asked everybody watching live, like, do you play third-party stuff on Nintendo consoles? And 66% said yes, so 2/3. Yeah, I do.
I mean,
Whether
if
that's
you're
on
Nintendo
occasion or a
Switch
lot,
2,
who knows? But
yeah, but if you're like Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be like your only console, if you're only
Oh, yeah.
going to buy that,
Yeah.
It makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
you know, there are some people that didn't buy a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox, whatever it's called now. So if this is their foray into next gen, yeah, totally. And based off of what we've seen, there's third-party support there.
Yeah, there is.
This made me feel a lot like back in the GameCube era of gaming with the third-party support. Like Nintendo's finally like back with like the games are actually like
Yeah.
you know, everyone is
Yeah.
kind of like playing on Nintendo again, and like because with the Wii
Well, they
change
know they'll
everything.
sell if they go there, you know? Like,
Right.
So,
It wasn't-
but Rob, you brought up, I totally forgot. I totally passed this up. The GameCube. If you're subscribed to Nintendo Online, you get the Nintendo GameCube games. That's what people been asking for a while. So that's pretty freaking cool. I saw Pokemon Coliseum on them. I'm ready for that. I would replay that. I would. And you know what? All you people, Wind Waker, I'm sorry. Screw you. Guess what? You don't get an HD version. You have to play the regular version. Suck it.
It's fine. I just wanted Wind Waker. I just wanted it, man. I don't care. It's fine.
I know, but you can play it. Like, what's the difference?
That's it.
But I wanted to play it like super duper HD. Like, no,
Quick
the
question for
original's
you
great.
guys. For the GameCube version of the NSO, right? Can you only get it on Switch 2? Is it
That's
only
a good question, Rob. Good question. I don't know. I don't remember confirming that, but I'm gonna guess so.
Think so. I think it's locked
Yeah.
to Switch 2.
It is locked to Switch 2. Wow.
I would imagine, dude, like that would be the enticement for people. I don't know how they'd mitigate that, but yeah, that would be the enticement for people to do that. I don't know. It's kind of like, remember when the PS5 came out, they I remember they did something. Oh, they came up with that like PS Plus catalog or something with like 50 games or something. You could only do that on the PlayStation 5. I think it's something like that, you know? It's like, let's just give the people with Switch 2 like something to like entice them to get on. So, yeah. Onyx is saying, yeah, it's Switch 2 only. I would believe that. Damn, I'm writing a lot. No, Onyx, you're part of a fifth man. I appreciate that. Everybody watching, you're a fifth man. I want to see those thoughts. You are part of this. You are part of the panel. So, but yeah,
Wind Waker HD does have a lot of quality of life improvements.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Oh, that's fair. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's saying.
Yeah. But the two things that they end with first party wise is, and I'm really curious how you guys like felt when you saw Kirby just falling through blackness.
Oh man,
bro, how many of you guys thought it was Smash?
First thing I
my
thought.
God. How many of you guys
First thing I thought was Smash, 100%.
Right?
I was, yep.
Come on, man. I was like, this is it.
Dude.
This is it. This is it. But
It was the cinematic. That's why it's like, and it's Kirby too, you know. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, Sakurai
start
loves
off
his
with Kirby.
boy.
Yep.
He loves his boy, you know. So
Yep.
He always
I
starts-
fully
he always
thought
starts
that, and I was gonna be like, no freaking way, no freaking way. And then they look. I know I saw people pop off that the fact that it's Air Riders. It was Kirby Air Riders. They revealed that as the semifinal game, and I know I saw people pop off for it. That's great. The last game was for the GameCube. It didn't review too well, I guess. It's like I think it's like at a 61 or a 71, so it's like an okay / kind of good game, at least in terms of the critic reception. You know, who knows about the fans, but I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I guess if there's a backbone question to this, like, how does it feel finding out Sakurai's been working on this since 2022? That's the next Sakurai game. That's the next Sakurai game.
It's not Smash like we thought, huh?
It's not Smash. It's not Kid Icarus.
It was.
It's Kirby Air Riders. It's not Smash. It's not Kid Icarus.
I'm okay with that.
I don't know.
I think
Yeah,
it's
I'm fine with that too, man.
it's weird that we have. I think
Me too.
yeah, C2 kind of mentioned it. I can't believe they have 2 racing games. When I saw that, and then I'm like, oh,
Dude.
so we have Mario Kart and we have
Kirby.
this new Kirby game. It just seems kind of odd, but it's fine.
Yeah, shout out to Creature, who's also a sponsor, basically level of Patreon. He pointed out something: Sonic Crossroads. So there's gonna be Sonic Crossroads, there's gonna be Kirby Air Riders, and there's gonna be Mario Kart World, all releasing in 2025.
Yep.
That's wild. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know the history of Kirby Air Riders, but so I don't know if anybody here does, if anybody watching, I see Onyx saying Air Riders is so different than Mario Kart though. I did see somebody that was in my stream saying like, yeah, Kirby Air Riders is a lot more chaotic than Mario Kart. So if it's different enough, then there we go, you know, but I don't know. I'm happy that Sakurai gets to work on a Kirby game again. As long as he gets to work on the game he wants.
Yeah.
You know, I'm happy.
This was a project that he wanted to work on, so I'm happy that he's happy.
Yeah. I'm happy that he's happy. Exactly. Yeah. Rudy, anything else to add?
I'm happy that he's happy. I just wanted Smash. That was it.
I know.
Like,
and that makes me think like,
No way.
why were you relieved?
I was relieved because I was gonna die. I was gonna freaking, my head was gonna explode. In the Smash game. You know what I mean? The hype was just too there. Like Kelvin literally put the freaking meme of
like
the
4
guy
times.
going, like foaming at the mouth, and I'm just like, is this Smash? Is this because he likes to be dramatic with his shit? And I'm just like,
That's fair.
It's like you feel bad though too, because it's like you can't help but like all of us were thinking it, and then it's not, and it's like I feel like we're all just like, well, okay, good for you, Sakurai. Good for you, Sakurai. Good for you, Kirby fans. Like,
it is a Smash ass trailer, but imagine Sakurai like he loves Kirby, obviously, and everyone just like, no, let's like give me Smash, but he like, I just want to work on Kirby, like let me work on my game.
Well, he's earned it. He's freaking earned it. You know, like work on whatever the heck you want. Like, what do you want to work? Maybe that's what Nintendo did. Okay, what do you want to work on? Kirby. All right, let's go.
Please say Smash. Damn it! All right, fine.
Yeah, we'll see. Patrick saying the Air Riders teaser wasn't dramatic. Like, that's the funny thing. It starts dramatic. That's why. It starts very dramatic, and then it turns into, like, happy, light fun, you know? So...
And I think Onyx
that's why.
They used the Kirby from Smash Brothers, like the CGI. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this definitely looks like it's a Smash game.
Now that I think about it, this sounds like it was very on purpose of Sakurai.
Oh,
what do
100%.
you know, like maybe he's like, I'm gonna make them think I'm making Smash. Not. Like
100%, always.
Yeah, dude,
always.
100%,
Biggest troll.
100%.
That would make sense. But the actual thing that they ended with was something that I'm so happy, guys. I didn't get my Star Fox. I didn't get my Banjo either.
No.
But you know, it's okay. It didn't get Smash either. But I was advocating for Star Fox because I want Nintendo IP that didn't get a new Switch entry to get a new game. But you know, they ended with Donkey Kong Bonanza. And that made me really, really happy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy.
Looks really good. First of all, the name, amazing.
Bonanza? Perfect.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Everything about it. I love his new design. Right, we kind of got a glimpse of that with Mario Kart World. It just looks like they, this is an upgrade, like a huge upgrade, right? So everything about it, perfect. I'm like, hey man, like you got me back into the Donkey Kong universe now. Like I'm definitely for it. I've always been like a huge Donkey Kong fan, like at least for the most part when I was a kid. But now I'm like, this is what Donkey Kong needed to kind of get back into the eyes of the consumers, right? Because I feel like they kind of fell off a little bit on that wagon of like, hey, let's try to bring Donkey Kong kind of like similar to like Mario. Let's kind of bring it up there as much as we can. It kind of fell off a little bit, and then now I feel like it's kind of swinging back up, especially with like the Super Mario movie that came out. Like that kind of like
swinging back up. Huh.
Yep, swinging back up. Yep.
Good job, Kill. Good job. However, he doesn't swing on any vine during the trailer, so that's unfortunate.
Is this the newest 3D entry? Is this the one we got? The last one would be, what was the one for
the last 3D entry was for the 64. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I am pretty sure that's true. That's wild.
I think that's true, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
that's wild, dude. I don't know, like
3D entries. We've gotten bongo games. We've gotten all sorts of things.
We've gotten HDs.
But not a 3D title. And I like the mechanics that were shown in that trailer. Absolutely awesome. Like, it's just like, dude, you can go into the ground, you can grab boulders, you can literally destroy the earth and like just have at it. Like that just looks fun. This is what I was talking about earlier. Nintendo just focuses on fun, and I'm sold.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I see Steffi saying, yes, finally new DK. That's all I wanted. I was patiently waiting this entire direct. So glad this announcement finally happened. And Alex said it's been 11 years. 11 years since the last original Donkey Kong game. Insane. That's why I was like, look, I have tons of IP that I wish would get a Switch 2 or just a Switch in general, new IP, the new entry. But like, I felt like Donkey Kong and Star Fox had the most shot in terms of just like how popular the IP is. And I'm shocked that Donkey Kong didn't get a new entry on the Switch. But 11 years later, here we are. And Onyx pointed out earlier, it looks like it's on the Odyssey engine, which that's a good shout, Onyx, because what I remembered, I didn't even think about it until like I posted my reaction to it on YouTube. Halfway in the trailer, I realized, I was like, oh my God, I totally forgot about those Odyssey rumors. There was a lot of rumors way back that the Super Mario Odyssey team, they weren't working on a new Mario game. They were actually working on a Donkey Kong game. And I totally forgot about that. That was like 3 or 4 years ago at least, or maybe during COVID. And here we are. And it's coming out in the launch year of 2025. And I'm just happy, man. Like I guess that begs the question that I did write this to help me remember. I want to ask you guys and everybody watching, does that mean that there is not going to be a 3D Mario this year?
No.
This year, no.
That was a fast no, Rob.
Where's the window for it?
There's no way. No. I think next year would maybe late. I would say like fall next year we can kind of start predicting like that's something that's happening for sure. But now, no, we're not getting it anytime soon. And I think that's purposeful. I think that makes sense, right? You have your Mario Kart 9, you have your Donkey Kong. Like, I think it's kind of nice to breathe a little bit and kind of get that space that it requires. Because if you jam pack everything too much, it's just gonna be, you're gonna jump on top of each other, and it just doesn't make sense. Now, question for you guys and Tony too. Like, this is a little off the Mario topic, but you brought up Fox, like Star Fox. What's their beef? Like, what's their beef with Star Fox?
What's their beef?
Do you think we'll see Star Fox, like a new iteration of Star Fox, this generation?
Look, man, I have a whole segment as we wrap up the show that I'll bring up with that. But yeah, I hope so. I certainly hope so. If the Switch has proven anything, it's, hey, if you put a new game out, it will sell more than it's ever sold, as long as it's at least good. Yep. So why not? Why freaking not? Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know though with Nintendo. But yeah, I hope that in terms of the 3D Odyssey conversation, and I want Rudy to jump in because it's been a hot minute since he has, but like, I don't know. I hope, I wanted to see Odyssey 2, but I'm also like cool with the new fresh 3D Mario. And it's like, if it's true, I don't know for sure, or we don't know, but if it's true that the Odyssey team was working on this Donkey Kong game, it looks amazing. It's like the Sakurai thing. I'm not butthurt. I'm happy about this. That's fine. And I saw Steffi say earlier, like, I want this game to feel refreshing, destructive, and lots of fun. Exactly. I love the destruction elements. That's freaking awesome. And I just, the big picture wise, I'm really curious if that means no 3D Mario this year. And I'm not like ruling it out entirely yet, but if they did, it would have to be like very end of the year. But yeah, why not save it for next year? But then again, the Switch launch year, they had something like every month, the Switch launch year. So that could happen. Anyways, Rudy, jump in. Go ahead. And
I think that the biggest thing is that with the original Switch, once that launched, there was a very little faith in Nintendo as a brand because they were on the heels of the Wii U's short life cycle. So when Nintendo said, hey, we're going to have this Switch and it's going to have these Joy-Cons, people were like, what the heck? Like, what is this? I don't understand it. And then all of a sudden, once it got into people's hands, they were like, whoa, this is magical. I can play what I'm playing on the TV with me as I'm flying. And I still remember I went to Toys R Us when that was still a thing, and I bought the gray handheld version of it, and I took it with me to Europe with my dock and everything, and I was playing Zelda in the freaking plane as I was flying across the Atlantic Ocean. Mind-blowing experience. But regardless of that, like, us four we're gamers. I would classify us as hardcore gamers, right? The casual audience, which is the demographic that was built within the Wii, kind of dissipated a little bit. Naming scheme, marketing, design of the Wii U, say whatever you want. It fell off. With the Nintendo Switch, I feel like in a marketing world, they realize in order for the casual audience to come in, the hardcore audience needs to be excited as well. We're the nerds. So when we tell our friends at work, oh, dude, guys, I was sitting there and I was playing Elden Ring on the Nintendo Switch 2. It was absolutely amazing. It runs so much better than it does on my Steam Deck. Or it runs so much better than it does on my PlayStation. And I'm out and about. I'm literally traveling with it. It's such a cool experience, right? I don't need the internet to connect to my console because everything's running right there, right? So they needed the hardcore audience to sell it to the casuals. And then once that fire struck, like the Switch effect happened. This generation, this time around, there's a lot more faith. And we've seen that specifically with third-party titles that are announced with the Nintendo Switch 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now with the Nintendo Switch 2, as it's coming out, we have a couple of launch titles that are there. Mario Kart makes sense. It's going to sell gangbusters. We all know that. And it's probably going to be packaged with each and every single Switch bundle that is going to be released throughout the lifetime of the Nintendo Switch 2. Then you have Donkey Kong, which we haven't seen. This is a little bit of a risk on Nintendo's part, right? I don't think that we're going to see a Mario Odyssey or Odyssey 2 or whatever it may be this year. I think we're going to see it maybe sometime next year in fall. I agree with what Kel said, because that to me is like, that makes sense. If not, maybe earlier in the year. But even still, man, like, it doesn't matter. Nintendo Switch, or Nintendo as a company, they have the faith of the gamers that are there. This thing is sold like hotcakes. It is a freaking success.
Yep.
People want more. They're going to buy it, and they are sold with some of the games that have been shown today. And mind you, I don't know if you guys remember E3 2017, when like the Nintendo Switch, they showed their roster and they showed a ton of games. And like Tony said, game after game, month after month, more and more and more and more and more, because they had to push, they had to like get people to come on board. And this is also in part why we're getting so many Wii U ports on the Nintendo Switch, because there are a ton of great games that no one played. That 10 million, install base that was there was completely demolished by the Nintendo Switch in barely a year. Like, it's insane, guys. I don't know. I'm getting too excited about this stuff, but like seriously, it's like the Nintendo Switch 2. Like, you don't need, not to say that you don't need Mario, but you don't need Mario to sell the console. The console alone will sell itself. Everything else will come into play. I just hope that Nintendo doesn't get too greedy when it comes to things. That's all.
So he has a perfect transition for me, Rob. What's up?
That's what I'm saying. It's perfect. This was like transition.
Oh, okay. No, because there's literally like, so like alley-oop. Yeah, no, like, is Nintendo are they gonna get too greedy? Like we were talking about that earlier, and I just to put a bow on that Odyssey conversation, I did ask everybody watching live. They're saying, will we get a 3D Mario this year? 62% say no. So it's not quite like huge majority, like 70-30, but mostly, yeah. So I could see that. But in terms of like, do they need to do more? No. There's like 2 points there, Rudy, that are great jumping off points. But I will say, oh man, it's the greed, but also you brought up E3 2017. I'm going to end with the E3 2017 thing. And just quickly, we talked about everything that was in the Direct. Like we basically went over everything, and we expressed earlier, we came out. Yeah, this was a solid show. This was a fun show. They showed the things that they need to show. Cool. I got a great idea of what the system is. But what is it priced? And so much other things, actually. Well, mainly one thing, actually. I have a feeling it's mainly one thing. But it's funny because there's sometimes that presentations happen that they don't tell you something in the presentation, but they do it before or after or through a blog post instead of the presentation to make the presentation better. But what we didn't know is how much the Switch 2 is priced and how much Mario Kart World is priced.
Let me just tell you, it just went downhill from there after that. I was like, oh.
It went downhill
yeah.
from there.
And then
It
from
seems
there, you
very
just started
unanimous.
seeing, all these like news pieces. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh man,
Lots
like,
of
what's
hate
going
coming.
on
So,
here?
so can we agree first off? So, in case people don't know, first off, the Switch 2, the price is, and it's annoying. This is something that annoys me about the whole thing that I'm curious if any of you have a quick comment on, is how buried this information is. You can't just go to their site and find it. You have to log in or whatever. You can't just go, at least to my knowledge, like, please let me know if I'm wrong, but like, I had to find this out from tweets, from outlets, from screenshots, from pictures. Like, they're not just publicly saying it easily. I had to log in to freaking see if I could pre-order. And the Switch 2 is $450. That's the base model. You get everything. There you go. There's a $500 version that includes Mario Kart World, just like they did with the original Switch with Mario Kart Deluxe. It's a harken to that. They are trying to just rock the same strategy that will sell this. I see Steffi already saying heart-shattering news indeed, but I want to know if is there much of a problem with the Switch 2 price?
No, I don't think so. I think the Switch 2 is priced accordingly, correctly. With what you're getting, I definitely see that you're getting your money's worth when it comes to the console itself. The game side of things, that's a different story. But the console, I think it's fine. I think it's priced accordingly. I would have preferred $399, honestly, but the 50 wiggle room, I can definitely understand. If it was 500, I would have been like, this is crazy. But $399 would have been sweet spot. But 450 is fine. It's just fine.
That is what I ran a poll and hundreds of people voted on it, and large majority landed on 450. So I think people were like ready for that.
Yeah.
It's the other thing that people weren't ready for.
Yeah.
And the thing is that Steffi was saying heart-shattering news is that we also learned after the Direct that Mario Kart World is going to be $80. It's not going to be $60 like all the Switch games were. It's not even going to be like Tears of the Kingdom where we're testing out different tier priced games. It's going to be $80. And in some places, or I'm not even sure, feel free to correct me on this, some places or everywhere, if you get it physically, you have to pay an additional $10, taking it to $90. Are you effing kidding me? I don't know anybody that looks. I did see one person in my community that just like saw this news and they're like, "Oh, I could swing that." It's like it doesn't matter if you can swing it. It doesn't matter if you could swing it. It's total bullshit.
Yeah.
It's the practice. Thank you, Rob. Yeah, I don't know. Jump on it, Rudy, because you've alluded to this conversation. We've all alluded to this conversation, but jump on it, Rudy. Like, what was your reaction to seeing this? Or Nintendo greed?
Okay.
Is it the cockiness? What is it?
No. So like, okay, in terms of like specs and everything, like, because you guys were talking about this a few days ago on this podcast, and like I knew that this was probably going to be on par, if not more powerful than the Steam Deck in terms of performance and everything that's there, processing power, all this and that. So to give context, the Steam Deck right now, if I were to look on their website, starting price is $399 for the LCD model. The OLED model is $549. Right? So this is a full-on Linux computer. You're able to play in the Linux games. You're able to do all sorts of this stuff. So I was expecting, knowing that it's Nintendo and that they're going to use older tech, that it was going to be somewhere around $450. That's I knew that straight out of the gate. Like I expected that. If it was going to be $499, yeah, okay, I'll take it. But still, that's kind of what I was expecting. Secondly, in terms of like pricing for games, like I was expecting $70, $69.99, simply because of the fact that like they experimented with, and huge air quotes on experiment, for Tears of the Kingdom. Now, in terms of like $80, that is like that's a lot to take in, especially when you take into account that some of these games, they're not even stored on the cards themselves, the cartridges that you buy. They're literally just for you to put in and use as like essentially a physical license to download the games. And I'm looking primarily at the Bravely Default game that they showed. It's literally only 11 gigabytes. How is this not on freaking cartridge? Why am I downloading a game that is 11 gigabytes that should fit on a cartridge. That is literally one of the worst decisions. That is like greed, capitalism, and more importantly, a form of DRM that there are some people that like physical media that are it's a slap in the face, 110%.
Crossing a line,
So,
I think, at this point.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, and like there are some people that are like, oh well, you know, like I mean, I buy digital games. Like I'll be the one to tell you, I buy games on Steam all the time. But there's a reason, like when you go into a transaction like that where you're like, I know that I'm getting a digital copy of a game, I am buying that. Whereas again, we're gamers, we're hardcore gamers, we're techies, we're nerds. There are people that are going to go to this Target, Walmart, GameStop, whatever. They're going to buy a game and be like, oh yeah, I have the cartridge. And they're going to put it into the console. And then all of a sudden it's just like, wait, I have to download 22, 30 gigs? I don't get it. I should be able to plug this in onto my handheld, whether I'm in airplane mode, whether I don't have a Wi-Fi connection, and it should just work. And I think that is a big slap in the face of the consumer. That's just my own 2 cents on that.
Yeah. No, you bring up a good point about the whole idea of physical media going away. Honestly, you know, we're transitioning to that era, and just there's Rudy, you brought up a lot of good points that admittedly, like, I didn't think about. So thank you for that. And I don't know, like, it's what worries me. So I want our fifth man. Where is it? Patrick said the $80 price tag is disgusting. Or sorry, consumers are getting hoed. That too. But Dog Tag said the game prices are bad, but I'm most concerned with the fact that this gives the developers lame excuses to charge $80.
Yeah,
that's what worries me, is setting that new bar. That we've heard the rumor of Grand Theft Auto 6 debating about, you know, do we do $100? Thanks, Nintendo. You did it first. Thank you.
That's the crazy part. Nintendo kind of starting this, like pioneering this, right?
Isn't that surprising though? Isn't that surprising?
I mean, you would always think
Nintendo
of
are
like
greedy sons of bitches. They make us great products, but they are greedy sons of bitches.
I always look at Nintendo products as like my secondary, as like something that, you know, it's more budget friendly compared to the other competitors out there. So for them to like really be the pioneers, like, hey, we're going above and beyond, and we're charging $80. And guess what? We're charging with Mario Kart World, which we know for a fact people are gonna go and buy, right? So let's do it. It's a strategic move on their end. It's not a good move in my opinion, right? And I think everybody agrees here. But it's just a move that they're like, hey, we're gonna bundle this with the Switch 2 on top of that, so that people are gonna buy this in bulks, and we're gonna buy this, and they're gonna be in this ecosystem because, you know, they're paying for the console and for the game itself. So it's sketchy, man. It's sketchy, but it's crazy.
Do you mind if I ask a quick question specifically to Rob? Because he has a marketing mind when it comes to this stuff. So the way that I see it, and I want to just know your take on it, because I see it as, you killed it, like in the sense that you have two ways of getting Mario Kart World. You can essentially either pay outright the $80 to get the game, or you buy it bundled, right? If Nintendo were to go ahead and say, hey, you know, we sold, I don't know, 10 million copies of Mario Kart World Tour, which would then in turn signal to other companies and publishers, holy shit. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to curse, but the $79.99 price point actually worked. Like, holy crap, they actually pushed all those units. Do you think that that's like just like a scummy way of skewing the numbers in terms of that? Or is that just them being like, we want to, you know, just, it's a digital good, so we're going to, it's pure profit at that point, air quotes, pure profit at that point, and we're just trying to just push it as much as possible to get users to come in, try the game chat, try NSO and all this and that, and then, you know, eventually subscribe and all this and that. What do you think?
I think there's a lot at play here. Like there's obviously a strategy that they're working towards, right? So NSO free until March 2026, right? They could have charged for that. They could have said, nope, pay us the money now and you get access. They do that because they want you to get used to it. They want you to chat with your friends. And then if you need to cut it off, that's going to be really hard to cut off because you had it free for almost a year. So good on their end for that. That's just easy, right? That's an easy play. The $80 is, they are just doing it because they know 100% the consumer will purchase it. They have no choice. They're literally putting a gun to your head, being like, you can say no. You can 100% say no, and we can boycott, and we can say boycott, and we could say no. We're not going to pay that price. It's not going to work. It's just gaming, specifically gaming, is this hobby where it gets people in this weird mindset of like, I don't care, I'll pay it because I got to play the latest game, right? And we know of the pedigree that is Mario Kart, right? So we know we're going to get the quality. Again, like I said, you bought Mario Kart. Okay, let me ask you this question. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate comes out for Switch, right?
Oh, dude.
Let's switch that. Let's switch Mario. Let's switch Mario Kart World. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate version Switch 2 HD HDR whatever, right? And they're charging $100 for it. You buying it?
$100?
$100. You gonna buy it?
I hate this question, Rob. I hate this question.
If I'm honest with you, I'd probably say no. I'd probably wait, but I'm not as big of a Smash fan as like say Onyx is, or like some of the other people that I know. Like possibly you
I'm
guys.
gonna say any copy and paste any game that you're a big fan of, right? And they charge that $100. Are you gonna pay it if you're a fan of
Xenoblade
that game?
Rudy, Xenoblade.
Xenoblade, Zelda, maybe Metroid. Like,
I mean, I think that's the strategy that Rockstar's gonna play too, right? Like, do you see Rockstar going with the $80, possibly $100 price tag for Grand Theft Auto 6? Like, again, like Tony said, this is just an entry point for everybody else to say, hey, it's okay. Look at what Nintendo did.
Can I jump on this because Rob's making it's true. Like there's certain I've heard people say it before, like Breath of the Wild is my favorite game of all time, and then somebody asking them like, what would you have actually paid to make sure you played that? And they're like, $490. It's like but that's what happened. Like Rob brings up a good point. What bugs me about this is that like I see C2 going like, I could see Sony and Microsoft $50 price cuts making Switch 2 the most expensive base console in the market. I don't. Well, what I'm worried about is it's not even the new standard. I guess this is kind of like, I don't mean to sound like I'm picking on Nintendo, but PlayStation 5 games and Xbox Series games, fully AAA, flushed out, the biggest of the best, whatever. These AAA blockbuster games cost $70 on these systems that are just more powerful. They just are. Mm-hmm. And Nintendo jumping to that price, they were testing it out with Tears of the Kingdom. Fine. If that's what you're going to do, okay, I'm a little bit reluctant about it. I feel like you should still be $10 less, but whatever. Fine. But they went above and beyond and go, hey.
They jumped too many tiers.
Let's be even more expensive than Monster Hunter Wilds for Xbox Series and PlayStation 5. Let's be more expensive than Cyberpunk. Let's be more expensive than these giant AAA games that are on these much higher hardware systems. And that is Nintendo being hardcore. I don't know. I don't like it. None of us like it, but
100%. They had the talk, and it's like, there's money on the table here if we don't charge them $80. That's what happened. They were just like, we can charge them $80, and someone said, charge them $80 because watch the money come in, right? And it sucks because as a consumer, you're stuck. You have no choice because, and if they weren't shipping a great product,
there's always a choice.
There's always the choice.
We have a choice.
There's always a choice. I'm just saying, because the only thing is that when you only have one console, that's really when you're screwed.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I like Rudy. That's fair. Yeah. If you're only a Nintendo player, then it's like, shoot, FOMO's hard, man. FOMO sucks. FOMO really sucks. And like Rocket's like $80 for the kid version of Forza Horizon, which, by the way, you could play Forza Horizon 5 with Game Pass. I'm not meaning to be an Xbox shill here, but man, this made me appreciate Game Pass so goddamn much. Mm-hmm. Like, oh my God. And I hope Nintendo continues with their voucher program. I don't know if you guys have bothered with that, where you pay $100 and it gives you 2 games that you could digitally download, but you have to do it within a year. I think people are going to hop on that if they keep that. I don't know. It's wild. I don't know, but I'm just like, We'll see. People are gonna buy it. People are gonna buy it. And it's the Jesse Pinkman thing that I put up where it's just, he can't keep getting away with it because everybody is going to buy. They're just going to do it. It sucks. Rudy's right. They have the choice, but they're just going to do it like Rob said. They're just going to freaking do it. And Nintendo's going to get away with it because they always do. And that's why they do this, because they know they can get away with it. Yeah, so anyway, that was the thing that really deflated our balloon of like, this direct was awesome, but then we found out that news afterwards. And so that's where I kind of like leave us at of just like, yeah, there's that news, but I still thought the direct was awesome. And I don't know about you guys, but like I definitely think it was like a solid B+. If I completely leave that out of the way, I definitely enjoyed it. I will say the things that I was hoping would be there, more first party stuff. I realize now, thinking back, this was a day to focus on introducing the Switch 2. Introducing the upgrades, introducing what the C button is, introducing our new community aspects, introducing just stuff, this is our next generation. I forgot that's really what today was about. It wasn't about the software, even though we're talking about Mario Kart, a lot. It was about, this is the Switch 2 and this is what we're going to next. And that makes me excited for hopefully what will be a bomb June Direct. I'm not in an airport right now. I can say it. A bomb June Direct. And I really hope, man. Like that's all I wanted to see more software here, admittedly. I saw plenty of software. I'm fine with it. I'm totally cool with it. But I am really, really hoping that, all right, we launched June 5th. Nintendo Direct, like 2 weeks later. Kaboom. But that's my final thoughts. Rob, how about you?
Yeah, I mean the direct, it was exactly what it needed to be, right? Just like the direct before it, right? The one we got for Switch 1, it was exactly what it needed to be. So they did a really good job. I hated that they shoved the price and the pricing in the back. That really irked me because that's like that burns consumer trust. Like I don't like that you're being shady at that point, kind of. It made me miss back in the E3 days where like they would have their big presentations and they would just tell you how much it was during the presentation and stuff like that. But I get it. They didn't want to reveal the price. Everyone's focusing on the price at that point, and then they're just like, let's just wait for everyone to bicker on social media about it. But overall, I'm really, really excited for what's to come. I think it's a worthy successor to the Switch 2. And again, this is just the first iteration of the games that we're getting, right? This is just the first. We have so
First
many
year
cool
too.
games that are coming, man. There's so many cool stuff that's coming in next 2-3 years. I'm excited. It's a great time to be a gamer.
Kelvin?
Yeah, to echo Rob's point, I mean, I agree it was shady on their end to do that, but that strategy I feel like didn't pay off, right? Mostly because the aftermath of that was everyone on Twitter, everyone on social media just like barking at the things, at the wrong things, right? Everyone was really hyper fixated on just the price, right? And that they kind of missed the entirety of the 1 hour presentation that we had, right? Like the cool games that we got to see, the cool tech that we got to see, like all of that was kind of like, forget about that. They're charging $80 for games now, and that's like the big focus point. So that kind of sucks, right? But overall, like you guys said, this direct to me was amazing. It did what it needed to do. It really kept me glued for the most part, except for like, the whole chat system thing there. But for the most part, it was a great thing. It did what it needed to do, and I'm really excited for this. It got me to like really, guess or at least make sure I'm like, hey, you know what? I might want to invest on this just because of, again, FOMO and all that stuff. But I'm excited for what Nintendo has to offer now.
Rudy?
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. If I didn't have a YouTube channel that was focused on handheld tech, I probably wouldn't even consider buying it. If I'm 100% honest with you, like it's just one of those things where I'm like, okay, all right, I'll wait and I'll see. Like because there's nothing that is coming out immediately that is like, yo, that is a must-have title for me personally. Not I know there's gonna be other people that are out there that are like, yo, like that's the game that I want. But right now, what we saw in the presentation was a couple of first-party titles, a couple of games that are on other systems that have already been released that are now coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 because it has much more powerful hardware, and some games that are getting nice patches or updates that you can pay for that may come with additional content, might not. who knows? We'll find out more once more information is out in the wild. Obviously, we do know about some, but there are others that are in the works that we don't know anything about. We're getting Gamecube, which is great. The new hardware is nice. I would like to go ahead and, you know, check that out too. But, you know, $449 is a great price. I hope that this $80 price point is not like this. I hope it doesn't become the standard. It deflated the entire presentation, and the presentation alone was like, it was a B, but like all that information definitely hampered it and brought me down specifically, because I mean, once we were done watching, my wife was like, okay, so you have to get this, don't you? And I was like, yeah. I have to get this. I have to. Like, there's just, I might do a video on it. The number 1 and number 2 videos are literally on my channel are a Nintendo Switch 1 OLED 1 year later review and a Nintendo Switch Lite review. Those are my number 1 and number 2 videos of all time on my channel. So the Switch effect is there. It's just, if it wasn't for that, I just wait until, like, you know, like Metroid is out. Like, that's really all I care about. Metroid and Zelda, maybe, you know, some other stuff, but I'm not going to replay Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not going to replay Breath of the Wild. So,
and you're a big Zelda fan.
Yeah,
you're a huge Zelda fan too, right? And you're not you're not in a ruch because you just did it. You did it like what? 2 years ago? A year ago?
I did like forever, man. It was an insane amount of time, and like I'm just like, nah. I mean, are you guys going to replay Zelda Tears of the Kingdom?
No, and I'm a big Zelda fan.
You know I'm not. You know I'm not. Tony's not doing another 300-hour playthrough. No, sir. No. I agree with everything. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So sorry, Rudy. Hopefully you were done. But
no, dude. I'm just saying, like, that's just me. Like, I'm just like, it's cool. I'm glad that this is there. The people that are, you know, found something that is enticing and exciting for them, I'm happy for them. For me, I'm like, all right, I'm going to knock out a YouTube video on it, do a review, and then I'm probably going to go back to my Ally X or my Steam, probably not my Steam Deck, but, you know, my PC handhelds and keep on playing the games that are there. But great for first-party titles, man. I'm excited for the tech that's inside and what Nintendo will go ahead and do with it.
Beautiful. Yeah. And from our fifth man, some final thoughts on this. Rocket just says inflation. That's the final thought. C2 says, I think Nintendo is going to learn the power of Fortnite, Minecraft, and Roblox the hard way. I mean, we'll see. Patrick, I'm waiting for at least a year or two before I buy one. I'm in no immediate hurry to upgrade my console. I'm somewhat there too, by the way. Like, I'm on the fence, but I probably will do it.
If I get the pre-order, if I don't get the pre-order email to get it, I'm not going to cry. I'm going to be like, I'll be a little...
That's where I'm, yeah.
You know, but I'll be like, I can wait, right? And then if I get it, cool, I'm getting it, right? So
yeah, it's like I'm indifferent kind of a thing. Yeah. Steffi, while I may not be using it frequently, I do feel relieved that children can borrow games digitally with friends and family. Physical games are so expensive nowadays. That's a great shout, Steffi. That's another, like, yeah, we didn't bring that up, but that was a great thing that they highlighted. It's like, hey, if you have a digital game and you're all like, want to play it together, here you go. Like, we literally had that problem on Sunday when I was hanging out with my patrons and we wanted to play Mario Party Jamboree together. This excites me so much. Like, I don't know the limits to that, but yeah, that's a great shout, Steffi. C2, are you going to stream the Street Houses? No. So the reason I am streaming this today as an early good game is because Friday I am getting that LASIK surgery. So that's happening. And so I will not be streaming Friday because I will be wanting to go to bed.
Blind.
New eyes, though. Getting new eyes.
Yeah, new eyes. So
that's awesome.
That's it.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm. My dad texted me. He's like, "Are you excited?" I'm like, honestly, he texted me that last night. Are you excited? I'm like, I'm thinking about something happening tomorrow morning more than laser.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of, like, AKA, I'm thinking of the Switch 2 Direct more than my LASIK, honestly.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's like Rudy said, we're freaking nerds. Nerds. That's what we are. We are a geek, proud, awesome community. That's what this whole thing is about. We're geeking out. And it's been 2 hours. I had trivia, but I kind of want to let us go. I don't know. I think I gotta let us go because we've been here for 2 hours. So I don't know. I'll let you guys have a speed run. Right? It's been 2 hours. So with that, I'm going to let everybody go because you East Coasters, it's late. So I appreciate you. And I appreciate all of you watching C2, Steffi, Patrick's, and just Rocket, all you guys, Dog Tag. Thank you very much for being our 5th person. And thank you to this panel for being here. If I type exclamation point, feel free to plug in. Rob, Kel, anything coming up for Gaming Duo? Are you guys going to do an episode about this or?
Kelvin?
Yeah, we're gonna, so a few things have changed. So we're now, instead of Fridays, we'll be posting on Mondays, and we're going back to the weekly episodes now. So you're definitely gonna hear our thoughts Monday morning. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. We'll kind of dive into pretty much what we talked about now, and just kind of hear our thoughts a little bit more. So if you guys are interested, definitely check us out at the Gaming Duo Pod.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts on today. Like, I thought that too. If anybody is doing content on Switch 2 and you're jumping on, and it's like, I appreciate the repetitiveness. It's awesome to have a conversation with you guys. And Rob and Kel, I always appreciate hanging with both of you. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And Rudy,
it's out.
Yeah, we had to let it out. Like, that's like tonight. I'm like, let's hop on. Let's do it. So, yeah. And Rudy, it's been a hot minute, but thank you for being on and sharing just awesome opinions, like things that I didn't even think of. That's why I love this diverse cast we had. Feel free to plug in anything you might have coming up or just any final words.
I'm literally just creating content, man. Like literally creating content. That's all I'm doing. That's literally it. Nothing else. I am gonna go ahead and do like a Switch 2 video, talk a little bit more in depth about like things that are here. But yeah, no, like I'm a techie, I'm a nerd. Follow me if you want to. I try to do all sorts of crazy stuff, man. Travel, cover things, do things like literally anything and everything when it comes to PC handhelds and whatnot. I still remember when Kel was like, "Do you get really excited when you hear about a new handheld?" You like told me that, I was just like, "Yeah."
Rudy was like,
Yeah, he's the baby meme, the Birdman meme. Yeah.
But yeah, no, man, it's good times. Thank you so much for having this, man. Like honestly, Tony, like, dude, shout out to you, man. Like this is fantastic. Seriously, thank you for having me.
That's really nice, man. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for being on. And thank you again, our 5th man, you watching, whether it's replay or live. I really appreciate you. If it is the replay, please, anything we mention, agree, disagree, questions, I just spark conversations. The stream's over, but I still look at the comments afterwards. I hope you have a Geek Proud awesome weekend. This is my dip out before I maybe do a Twitch stream tomorrow and then LASIK, and then next week we'll see what happens. But until then, ciao folks. Have a good one.